The NFC playoff picture much more in focus than the AFC. The Giants have secured home field right on into Tampa if they get that far into Super Bowl 35 on CBS. The Minnesota Vikings, they'll be going against the Indianapolis Colts in a 4 o'clock game, a very important game affecting both conferences, as Andy Reid has taken a team that was 3-13 the year before he got here, 5-11 last year, and now they're 10-5 and rolling on into the playoff. They've already secured a spot. Now they want to get home field in the wild card round next week. Dick LeBeau, his contract was extended this week by Cincinnati owner Mike Brown. His players are thrilled by it, and they want to prove today that LeBeau's the guy that can lead them to much better things. In fact, if the Bengals should win today, they will have closed the season winning 3 of their last 4 games, Steve.
And Dick LeBeau was very touched by the way his players have responded. They said publicly and privately that they wanted him to be the head coach, and they've played like it in the last few weeks. On the other side, the Eagles, they think they've got a shot at the playoffs. They want to clinch a home playoff game here for the Philadelphia fans that have meant so much to them this season.
Right now, David Akers is ready to kick the ball off. The Eagles will go on defense to start the game. A high spinning kick coming downfield. And on his way down is Tremaine Mack, one of the best kick returners, as he moves the ball, powering it across the 25-yard line. A return of 20 yards on the play. And with Scott Mitchell at quarterback, the Bengals will go on offense, first down and 10. There's Mitchell. His numbers for the season, not that good, but they were good last week in the upset win over Jacksonville. He played very effectively in very bad weather at Cincinnati. And he knows this stadium. He was involved in the highest scoring playoff game in history here when he played with Detroit. As on the first play, they go to Corey Dillon, and the 1,400-yard rusher is taken down with virtually no gain. Hugh Douglas was the first guy to get him. The offensive line, John Jackson, Scott Rayberg, Rich Bram, Mike Goff, and Willie Anderson across the front. Dillon and Williams, the runners. Danny Farmer coming off a big game, and the great Peter Warwick at the wideouts in Battaglia starts at tight end. Second down, a long 7, a throw and a drop as they go downfield to a second tight end, Steve Bush. Carlos Emmons defending on the play. Now we look at the Eagles, one of the healthiest teams in the NFL. Warwick runs a slant, dives ahead, and he's going to be just short of the first down as they run, Steve, a little comebacker to Peter Warwick.
Well, that's one of the things they've been able to do in the second half of the season, especially since Dick LeBeau took over, is find ways to get Peter Warwick the football, and he's responded. Let's face it, he's been one of the bright spots. And you'll see here, this is just a quick hitch, get him the football on a long handoff, and that's what he does so well, and that's what everybody wanted him to do when they drafted him. Run with the football once he gets it in his hands.
Boy, did he run with it last week against Jacksonville, including an 82-yard punt return. Daniel Pope is now into punt for the Bengals as they come up a yard short. On 4th and 1, they'll punt the ball. High hit, downfield. Mitchell with the ball at the 20. He's to the 30 and out to the 33 or 4-yard line. Ryan Mitchell with a good return. There's also a penalty marker down on the Eagles side of the field. It was a 43-yard punt and a 12-yard return.
I think now last week we watched Philadelphia play a Cleveland team that did a lot of trick things offensively to try and stay in that ball game. But the fact of the matter was, as soon as Donovan McNabb stepped on the field,
31 of the receiving team during the run back. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Al Harris.
As soon as McNabb stepped on the field last week in the Cleveland game, it was a mismatch. This guy's an MVP waiting to happen, waiting to be recognized. He's carried this offense on his back. It's one thing to lead a team, Don. It's another thing to carry an offense or defense on your back, and Donovan McNabb has done that.
Well, 73% of the offense of the Eagles. Yardage directly attributable to the passing and running of Donovan McNabb. McNabb, play fakes, takes a look. Long ball, he's got a guy on the run, and he overshoots the very fast Charles Johnson, who had a step on the defender. As we look now at the big offensive line of the Eagles, tremendous tackles. Thomas, Welburn, Miller, Mayberry, and Runyon. The tackles are absolute buildings. Chris Warren in from Dallas at running back, along with Cecil Martin, Small and Johnson, the wideouts. Chad Lewis heading to the Pro Bowl with 60 catches is at tight end.
You said it right. Their offensive line with Trey Thomas and John Runyon, the free agent from Tennessee at tackle, they have got some building blocks to build with, and that's one of the things about it. You have a young quarterback like Donovan McNabb. You want to protect him as much as you can, and they've done a great job of it here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll talk about Steve McNabb's work ethic, which is just phenomenal. There's a player down on the far. That's the official is down.
Yeah.
Officiating crew today is referee Bernie Kukar, and we're unable to spot at this time which official went down in front of the, I don't know if he was hit, Steve, or what happened.
What happens is officials start running up and down the sidelines, and especially on a kicking play when they have to cover a lot of ground, players on the sidelines get in the way, guys get tangled up, and sometimes somebody goes down without contact or just gets tangled up.
Back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, one of the sideline crew is down. One of the, it looks like one of the guys, Steve, who's working the chain.
Yeah, and actually, as the play took place, you'll watch here in the background, back in this area, watch, right on the sideline behind the players, you'll see he's already collapsed on the sideline. We don't know whether he was hit or anything, and it took a long time for anyone to actually notice it and get over there, but now you can see they've already got the stretcher out, and both teams have representatives on that sideline attending to him.
Yeah, medical personnel from both teams are attending to him.
Well, it's cold out here today. Now, you know, I don't know if it's dangerous cold that would have some effect that cause someone to collapse, but
I don't think so.
I don't know. I felt like I was going to collapse early up here in the booth. It's pretty cold, but
and you played for the Bills, and you're from Buffalo.
I live in Buffalo, and I come to Philadelphia, and I'm cold, man.
Well, the temperature 25 degrees, but very, very good playing conditions on a dry field at the Vet. No threat of precipitation. It was bitterly cold yesterday, much colder than it was today.
Yeah, one of the things, too, we saw the gentleman on the official on the ground over there. It took a long time, but we did see him stir a little bit, so he has moved and shown signs of consciousness. But as you can see, there's quite a crowd around him. And
so while we have a minute, let's head right to Fifth Avenue in New York and to Jim Nance. Jim? The Jets, all week long, the Ravens were denigrating the Jets, saying these guys aren't much of a football team, and leading the verbal assault was the coach, Brian Billick, Steve.
Yeah, there's no lack of confidence in Baltimore. There's no question about that. And we've just received word that the official on the sideline was Vince Simonetti, who has been down and they're attending to.
So while Vince is being attended to, there's a break in the action here at the Vet. The Vet, we're also joined today by Beasley Reese, who's on the field. Beasley, what do you see down there?
Hey, guys, I just spoke to a lot of eyewitnesses who watched what happened. The side judge or the back judge, they're not sure which, ran into the chain operator. It was a collision while he was running downfield covering the kick. He ran into the guy, he flipped around, landed on his head, and right now I'm standing about 5 yards away. They are securing his neck with the apparatus that we commonly see for that type of injury, and being very careful. Back up to you.
Well, Don, it's exactly like we said earlier. When the officials have to cover a kick, they run so hard. They're running without looking where they're going. They're running and looking at the players on the field by running down the sideline. And it's so easy over there to get caught up in the game and start watching, edging out closer and closer to the field, that when the official runs by, if you're not watching, he's not watching either, and the collision took place there for that reason.
And the gentleman being attended to is Vince Simonetti. Vince is a 20-year veteran of the chain crew here at the Vet in Philadelphia. As Coach Andy Reid of the Eagles now waiting to see his offense go to work.
You think, though, a game like this, Donnie, as a player, you see it becomes commonplace for a guy to stay down, where people attend to him, for people to, to know that players are going to get hurt in this game. But this is a guy that came out just as an official, and, somewhere has got family and people watching that don't know how he's doing right now. You see there, even the players, this is not a normal thing that happens. Usually players get hurt, but not officials. And you can see there by the crowd that's around this guy that everybody's really concerned, because he was down, and he went down hard. And
we finally found out what happened from Beasley, who said one of the officials running down to cover the kick.
And
To rule on it, he actually ran into one of the chain gang, and there is the gentleman, Vince Simonetti.
It's a good thing we had Beasley down there, because, you know, I'll tell you the truth, the majority of people on that sideline had no idea that happened or how it happened, because they were watching the play just like you and I were.
But what has to be pointed out, and no one does it better than the National Football League, as you pointed out, Steve, they take every precaution. They leave nothing to chance, and always, if you're going to err on the side of caution, so every possible attendant available medically is there to work on the condition of Vince Simonetti, who was run into by one of the officials early in this game on the first punt.
And that, you're right, Don. They take very, very special care in the National Football League, and there's been instances, you think back in Detroit when Reggie Brown had a neck injury, and virtually the training of the staff people on the sideline saved his life. So if it happened there on the edge of the field, there's no question that he's getting the best of care possible, and he's doing it with people who've done it before.
See, it looked like he might be, is that blood on his face?
Yeah,
looks like he might be lacerated.
Yeah, it looked like it was a very nasty spill that he took, a bad collision.
It's moving his hands as he went off the field, so it's just a major collision where you least expect one between a chain gang member and one of the officials.
Well, it's bad enough when the players, but they've got shoulder pads and helmets. They can pretty much take anything you can dish out, but these guys are standing out there in the cold trying to stay warm with no protection except for a stocking cap or a baseball cap, and you just don't have a chance.
So after a 10-minute plus delay while the Vince Simonetti was attended to, the Eagles are ready to go on offense, 1st and 10 from their 24-yard line. The Eagles coming off a bye week. A very healthy team, as we mentioned. They've won 7 of their last 9 games to go to 10-5 on the season.
And then the Eagles have yet to take an offensive snap because of the injury, and now after standing around in the cold, we'll see if they can come out and will have stayed warm.
McNabb with 2nd down after that long ball that almost was a connection. Now he goes to the run, and not much there as running with the ball is Chris Warren. Newly acquired from the Dallas Cowboys, Chris Warren. We look now at the Cincinnati Bengals on defense. Bankston, Gibson, Copeland, and Langford across the defensive front. Foley, Ross, and the best player, Takeo Spikes, back the line. And in the secondary, a rookie from LSU, Mark Roman, and Artrell Hawkins at the corners. Darrell Williams and Chris Carter are the safeties. 3rd down. Donovan McNabb, and the Eagles need 8. Good throw up the middle. He delivers to his tight end, Chad Lewis. Lewis, the Pro Bowler, making his 61st catch of the season for 9 yards and a Philadelphia 1st down.
Yeah, that play came up, and I mistakenly thought that the Eagles had not taken a snap, but that play was a long pass. And this is the Eagles. This is Donovan McNabb's leadership. They came out, they stood around for 10 minutes waiting for the play to resume. Got cold. They had one running play that was not a success, and Donovan McNabb gets the 1st down at a crucial moment in the 1st drive.
Yeah, big throw on 3rd down. McNabb, again, a fastball, a very strong-arm quarterback, and again he delivers to Lewis, who they say, Steve, has the best hands in Philadelphia since Larry Bowe is at shortstop for the Phillies.
Well, he's had 60 catches coming in to today. He's going to the Pro Bowl. He's even guys around the National Football League. Steve Young worked out with this guy, Chad Lewis, and said he's one of the top 3 route running tight ends of all time, and that's coming from a guy who he didn't even play in the NFL with.
This is a guy that certainly paid his dues. He was cut once before by the Eagles. Now the handoff and running with the ball and moving the ball inside is Warren as he comes across to the 49-yard line. A 9-yard gain as we go back to Jim Nantz in New York.
Don, the AFC East will belong to the Dolphins if they defeat New England today. They're up 3-0 after this Mare field goal set up by an Ogden 56-yard punt return. New England's threatening, though, because Miami failed on the ensuing onside kick attempt. And the Patriots have it deep in Dolphin territory. Back to you.
Interesting tack there.
Onside kick right off the bat. Trying that. I'll tell you what, Don, this is a huge weekend across the NFL. Everybody's got a chance. You're going to see some crazy stuff.
Just the way we like it, right down to the final game as McNabb stands in, lets it go long, and again, too much on it as he fires deep at Todd Pinkston, a very fast rookie from Southern Mississippi. As we look at the AFC playoff picture, With so much to be determined, Tennessee, of course, goes tomorrow night at home against Dallas, and with a win can secure home field throughout the AFC playoffs.
The problem is there, the AFC, Miami, the Jets, Indianapolis, all three of those teams could end up at 10-6. And that is a huge tiebreaker conundrum to be in for the playoff picture.
That'll be one of those conundrums. Here is a throw downfield, and again it's picked off beautifully by Chad Lewis, going high to make a fingertip catch, and he's very close to a first down. Very close to a 10-yard gain on 2nd and 10. They'll spot him just short.
There's a very current graphic hanging with Chad. That's the kind of season that he's had. I mean, those are some big names up there at the top of that list, and tight end is one of those positions where a team, it's hard to draft these guys because you never know how they're going to pan out. You really don't draft tight ends. You kind of steal them from someplace else. But Chad Lewis has come on and had a great year.
Well, he was originally a free agent with the Eagles in '97 as they run, and not for very much. As the takedown is made of Stanley Pritchett. He was waived by the Eagles. He was then picked up by St. Louis. They waived him later and came back to the Eagles, and now he's a Pro Bowl player. So sometimes it takes a while to develop.
And that's the thing. You just got to find a home. You got to find a place where, let's face it, back when he started with this Philadelphia franchise, this was a franchise in disarray. I mean, they had some serious problems as late as 2 years ago. They were, a kind of an atrocity as a franchise, and now there's a lot of players standing in line to get down here and play.
And they're way under the cap. They're so well positioned financially are the Eagles as the handoff goes, and Chris Warren driving hard out to the 37-yard line of the Bengals. I talked to Chris at practice yesterday. The reason he wasn't happy at Dallas, he says only one guy runs the ball at Dallas. That's Emmitt Smith.
Yeah. You don't want to, if you're going to be in Dallas and you're not Emmitt Smith, don't count on getting very many carries. But this is a guy with a Pro Bowl pedigree. I mean, he came in. I played with him in the Pro Bowl. He rushed for way over 100 yards in that game. He's got some talent, and I think it's a great pickup at this point in the season for the Eagles to pick a guy that quality up.
Well, the Eagle running game has been struggling the last 5 games, averaging under 3 yards a carry running by committee. But here's the best runner, Donovan McNabb, who dives ahead and gets inside the 30, an 8-yard gain and a first down for the Eagles. As we go back to Beasley Reese for more on the injured chain gang member. Beasley.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I walked underneath the tunnel with the injured man. They're taking him to Jefferson Hospital. They secured his neck because briefly he was unconscious. He has consciousness now, minor lacerations, and they feel like he'll be okay. I spoke to the attending doctor. Back to you.
Thank you, Beasley. That'll be a great comfort to the family of Vince Simonetti and his many friends, a 20-year veteran of the sideline crew here at Philadelphia. Right now, the Eagles are driving on their opening possession. McNabb, pump fake, and look at him buy time, then lose a tackler and get ahead for another gain. McNabb averaging 7.4 yards a rush this season. He got 8 on the last one.
Well, he's so good because I asked him yesterday, Donovan, how do you describe yourself? And he says, well, I'm a quarterback first, which means this is a guy that goes back and he wants to throw the football. He's got a great arm. He sees the field. And then he says, after that, I'm a guy that can make something out of nothing. And he has shown that all year. That's his gift, is his ability to make something for this offense out of nothing.
Well, he has defenses scared to death because every time he drops, he can beat you either way with his arm or his great ability to run. And now Chris Warren banging off tacklers on 2nd down and a long 2. Drives inside close to the 19-yard line where he had to go to get a first down.
Yeah, Chris Warren's a guy they just picked up, and you kind of equate it with a baseball team where they're in the September playoff run and they pick up a guy that could help them down the stretch. Chris Warren fits that mold exactly. He's a quality running back who's been in big games before, and if you're going to get into the playoffs, you want a guy that is not going to be rattled by the magnitude of the game.
He's not rattled. Just his 2nd year in the NFL. Just a spectacular success story out of Syracuse. Donovan McNabb stands in. Here comes the rush. He looks to the end zone. He's got a guy, and Pritchett comes down with the ball, but was he in? Officials come over and say the catch made out of bounds. So Stanley Pritchett almost had a spectacular touchdown reception. Instead, it brings up another long yardage play.
You'll see as McNabb comes out, he feels some pressure from his blind side, steps up away from it, And then he sees his receiver down the sideline, and this is going to be a great, it's just an impossible catch. But he makes it one-handed out of bounds. And you love guys like that's a playoff team when you've got guys making plays like that.
Right now, let's see what play they make on 2nd and 10. Warren follows his blockers. Chris Warren breaking tackles, works the sideline, and takes the ball down close to the 6-yard line, a 9-yard gain as we go back to Jim in New York.
That's a shocker for me, Don.
That is remarkable.
And we've done a couple of Baltimore games, you and I, this year, and Baltimore is an impressive team, but you really don't see teams score more than 1 touchdown on them.
I'll tell you how impressive. If they hold the Jets to 41 or fewer, they'll set an all-time defensive scoring record. That's how good they are. The scoreboard changes, and Jim Nance's on top of it. Back to New York.
Yeah, a lot of things happening here, Don. More good news for the Jets as the Patriots are in. Tony Carter from a yard out. 7-3 New England over Miami first quarter. Back to you guys.
So the Patriots rally back and take a 7-3 lead.
What was that we called that AFC East, a conundrum?
Yeah.
I think I should have worn my conundrums today. I'm kind of cold up here.
But the sun is breaking through. It looks pretty good. And so does the Eagle offense on this extended drive. McNabb fires to the end zone. And let's see, there's a marker down. The throw is to Torrance Small in the end zone, but there's a marker down. We'll see what's against the defense. If it was, it'll be a touchdown.
I think it's going against the offense. Yeah, Torrance Small gave a little extra something at the top of that route to get open.
That Jet game is a stunner, though, in particular with that. All the verbiage that was being fired around.
80 offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
You'll watch here right at the top. He'll fake going to the slant right here. And as the receiver, he pushes it, and you can see there the push-off that forces Mark Roman to hit the ground, and the official called it had he not pushed off. But sometimes in the heat of battle, you kind of go the extra distance, and it costs you.
Well, it's certainly been an extended drive. This is the 16th play of the drive coming up for the Eagles. Second down. McNabb, you can box him in, but you can't stop him. And good defense by the Bengals. Forces down McNabb to throw it into row A. As again, he was shooting somewhere in the direction of Torrance Small.
And this is him. He just buys time. This is what Donovan McNabb can do. Now, he's in the pocket, gives himself plenty of time to look at the field, then buys himself some extra time, gets out of the pocket where he can throw the football away, and takes a tackle, but not really a big hit after the play's over. But that's the thing a good quarterback will do. He'll buy himself enough time, but not only will he buy the time, he'll use every last split second of it.
Oliver Gibson put the rush on him. Gibson, an inside pass rusher, is tied for the sack lead for the Bengals with 4. McNabb on 3rd down and 15 on the run. Takes a look. Fires to the end zone, and he's off target. Gunning the ball with Charles Johnson, the veteran receiver. Who was initially a #1 draft pick of the Steelers back in '94. Number 81, Charles Johnson. So the long drive of the Eagles stalls, and now a 33-yard field goal is coming up by a very good kicker, a Pro Bowl alternate this year behind Martin Gramatica of Tampa Bay. This is David Akers, who has hit 26 of 29. A 33-yard field goal, up and good. I talked to Akers on the field before the game. He said he was concerned about this field. He thought it was a little slick. He was right on time with that to take the lead.
On of the Super Bowl. Blockbuster, bringing entertainment home. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
A 33-yard field goal by David Akers has given the Eagles the first points of the day. Coming on an 18-play drive. That was the most number of plays in a drive by the Eagles this season. Now the return by Cincinnati, and this is Tremaine Mack. Out across the 25 to the 26-yard line again. A 23-yard return. James Darling down on special teams to make the stop. Number 57 for Philadelphia. So the Bengals will try for a second time on offense when we come back.
Shows you.
There he is, ready to make his midnight run. Santa Claus. Right now, the Bengals averaging only 12 points a game this season. The lowest in 33-year history of the franchise. Go to the pass, and it's incomplete. As Troy Vincent is there to defend nicely. We want to watch the playoffs. If you want to watch the playoffs in person, just log on and buy tickets online at NFL.com.
Scott Mitchell trying to find Danny Farmer on that last play. And if you watched him, his eyes went left, then middle, then right. He went to his third outlet, Danny Farmer, who came open but just couldn't connect on the pass. A little bit too much on it. That's something that's going to have to change if the Bengals want to stay with this team.
Hand off to Corey Dillon, and Dillon running wide, and they're not giving him much. That tough defensive front. Hollis Thomas leading the tacklers. We go back now to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Don and Steve, the Eagles' playoff position depends on a number of variables, including how Detroit and Tampa perform today. There's one opening in the NFC playoffs, and Detroit can claim it with a win. Lions up a quick 10 on the Bears. St. Louis can only make it with a victory and a Lions loss. Falk with a touchdown for the Rams early. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Tampa Bay, as everyone who follows this knows, has no success at Green Bay when it's cold. None. Here's a throw, and Farmer, who caught 5 for 102, catches it, fumbles the ball. And it looks like the Eagles might have it.
Well, it might depend on whether they give him the catch. Yep, they did.
He caught it.
He caught it, took a couple of steps, and then the ball came out, and there was a scuffle for it, and the Eagles came up with it. That's Bobby Taylor.
Last week, Dick LeBeau's team turned the ball over 4 times against Jacksonville to only 1 turnover by the Jags, and the Bengals still won the game.
And there's no question he's got it, had it, held it away from the defender, and as he brought it back in, it was a fumble, and it turns over. Sometimes that's the only difference between a good team and a bad one, their ability not to turn the ball over.
On CBS is sponsored by Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Staples. Staples has everything you need for your business at guaranteed low prices.
Don Craigie with Steve Tasker and Beasley Reese back at the vet in Philadelphia, where referee Bernie Kukor is taking a look now as the Bengals are going to challenge this call. It was ruled a catch and a fumble and recovery by the Eagles.
I think the stand is going to call. You see there, he's got both hands on it, holding it away from the defender, and Troy Vincent reaches in and pulls it out after he's had possession, had both feet on the ground. The Bengals are trying to overturn the turnover call and avoid their 33rd turnover of the year, but it's not going to happen. That's going to go as called on the field.
Andy Reid, as you know, Steve told us yesterday, he thought the key to playing Mitchell at quarterback was to get to Scott Mitchell early, hit him a few times, and sometimes he doesn't respond well to that, he didn't feel.
Yeah,
He thought if he gets started early, though, he makes some connections, which he's not done. He can be real tough.
Well, he's a streaky player. If he starts getting hot, then he can be as good as anybody there is, because that's the way his personality, the way he plays quarterback is. But if Scott Mitchell can be pressured early, it really, Andy Reid felt it would pay off very late in the game, that they would be able to rattle him and make him ineffective later.
After reviewing the play stands as called on the field. The receiver had possession of the football, took 3 steps, the ball came out, fumble, first down Philadelphia. Cincinnati is charged with a timeout.
Bernie Kukar with authority. The play stands as called on the field. Certainly no irrefutable evidence.
Yeah, you've seen that a lot more. I like it when they've told the officials to come out and don't only say what the ruling is, tell us why. And he did a good job of that. He said it all. He said it took 3 steps and the ball came out, makes it really clear. And I like the replay because now Dick LeBeau can't bellyache anymore. They replayed it and the play stood.
And the Eagles have the ball first and 10 with a 3-0 lead. Here is McNabb, a good fake, open man downfield, and the connection is made inside the 5-yard line. Touchdown. And it's a touchdown indeed as he backpedals into the end zone from 39 yards out. Charles Johnson with his 7th touchdown catch of the year. And the Eagles, rolling into the playoffs and looking for home field next weekend, are about to take a 10-0 lead.
Oh, you want to see an MVP throw? Watch Donovan McNabb. Great ball handling. The ball fools the cameraman. Then he makes this throw over the top of the quarterback right to Charles Johnson, and Johnson extends for the pylon and gets it. That was a great throw by Donovan McNabb after a world-class play fake to Darnell Autry, and it paid off for the touchdown.
Johnson and McNabb spent a lot of time in the offseason working together out in Arizona, and it certainly paid off this year. Now 7 touchdown connections between them. And the Eagles on this very important day in their football season take command 10-0. Donovan McNabb, the man who leads the Eagles, has just thrown for a 39-yard scoring pass to Charles Johnson. And the Eagles extend their lead now to 10-0 as Akers, with the extra point, kicks off again. The third kickoff return of the day by Tremaine Mack. And a 19-yard return. It was a little bit sketchy about him getting into the end zone, though, Steve.
Watch as he catches this and turns around. Watch his right foot as he extends for the pylon. Does he step out of bounds before he breaks the plane of the goal line? Watch his right foot right there, very close, but it looks like it's in, and he does get to the pylon. So that part of it, there's no question, that's a touchdown, and there was no appeal or anything, but it's going to stand as a touchdown, but it was close.
Now penalty markers fly all over the field as the Bengals try a pitch back to Peter Warrick, who is a tremendous runner. Peter Warrick's run 15 times this year. Illegal motion against the false start against the Bengals.
False start, 63 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Warrick averaging 9.7 yards a rush on 15 rushes so far, including a 77-yard touchdown run. They want to get him the ball as often as they can. He is a threat. Bring him in motion to loosen the coverage. They go to Corey Dillon. He stood up and driven back by Carlos Emmons. A very important acquisition as a free agent from the Steelers in the offseason. Friday, CBS Sports jumps into postseason excitement with the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. It'll be a showdown of 2 heavyweights when game breaker Freddie Mitchell leads the UCLA Bruins against speedster Michael Bennett and the Badgers of Wisconsin. That's Friday on CBS, the Sun Bowl. Ball by Mitchell, slapped down at the line of scrimmage. Who's taking credit? Looks like it's the rookie Corey Simon, who has the chance to be a great player. 9.5 sacks as an inside pass rusher as a rookie.
And you'll see here Scott Mitchell trying to get the ball to Peter Warrick, and Corey Simon just gets up and bang. And this guy had a great year as an interior lineman in the NFL. His first year, 9.5 sacks. And the only problem he's had is sometimes he gets after the quarterback a little too much and forgets his run responsibilities, but this is a guy who's played great in his first year.
Well, they're double teaming him and he's busting through it. Here's a throw downfield and almost a pickoff. As again, Scott Mitchell was shooting at Danny Farmer, and again Troy Vincent covering well on the play. So the Bengals offense unable to move at all against this Eagle defense.
Well, if you're going to work against Troy Vincent, you've got your work cut out for. He's going to the Pro Bowl for his second year in a row, and you'll see here he's all over that route. Danny Farmer was doing all he could just to make sure Troy Vincent didn't catch this football. They reversed roles, and Danny Farmer became the defensive back, breaking up the pass.
The punt hit downfield by Pope. Ryan Mitchell comes up on it. They're catching the ball at the 48-yard line of the Eagles. So Philadelphia starts yet another drive with very good field position after a 31-yard punt and a fair catch.
The Eagles take over one more. The thing about him is he's improved since last year. We spoke to him. He said it was about midway through last year where he actually felt comfortable. You see, he completed just under 50% of his passes for less than 1,000 yards. He didn't play the entire year, but this year he stepped up. Now he's playing like a playoff quarterback. Over 3,000 yards passed, 26 TDs. The guy has done it all.
They all talk about his work ethic. I think one of the most significant things, as Chris Warren runs wide, they said about him, Steve, is what Andy Reid said about Donovan McNabb yesterday. He said he just gets better every game, every practice, and he's so humble about it all.
Yeah, it was him. He came in, walked in to talk to us yesterday, and he was as upbeat as you could possibly be. He was doing everything except clicking his heels. He loves being in Philadelphia. He loves playing the game. He loves preparing. He comes in early. He stays around, hangs around with the coaches. His quarterback coach, Brad Childress, spends a lot of time with him. The guy's just a real hungry guy to get better in this league.
Let's see what he does now on 2nd down and 10. Long count. Straight drop. They come with a blitz. It's picked up, and now McNabb is on the run. Foley's in pursuit, and McNabb bails out, gets out of bounds, but there's a substantial loss on the play. Back to the 45-yard line. Coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, join Jim, Mike, and Randy for all the scores and highlights, plus all the latest playoff news. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report.
One of the things about Donovan McNabb, he breaks contain in this instance. So you can see the receivers down the field. They know he's got such a huge arm. None of them bother to come back and help him. They know he can throw it all over the football field, so they figure, well, they'll just run around down about 35 yards deep, thinking he can get him the ball. Nobody turned around and came back to help him, and I think that's where his strength of his arm kind of haunted him.
Again, we'll see that arm strength now as he dumps it over the middle, incomplete on a 3rd down and 14 play. He was shooting at running back Brian Mitchell. Takeo Spikes covering on the play. And so for the first time in the game, the Eagles will send their punter out, Sean Landetta, who's been around for 16 seasons. Andy Reid, a happy guy. We asked him about Brett Favre and the Packers, who could help him a lot today if they beat Tampa Bay. So if you talk to Brett lately, they're very close. His coaching days at Green Bay says, oh, yes. We've had a couple of conversations. Here's a hit downfield by Landetta. Peter Warrick, who ran one back 82 yards last week, weaving his way ahead. Good smothered coverage by the Eagles. There's just no gaps to get through. Green Bay and Tampa Bay, as you see the Packers in front 7-0. Eagle win at home today, and a Green Bay win over Tampa Bay would send the Eagles back onto the vet playing field next weekend as the home team in an NFC wild card game.
That's right, and that means if that continues as it is here, bringing Tampa Bay to Philly means a lot more than anybody can possibly imagine for this Eagles team.
We're giving Corey Dillon, Steve, nothing. That's his 3rd carry for 4 yards. The NFC playoff picture, as mentioned, the Giants are already securing home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Vikings go later today at Indianapolis. Right now, New Orleans is losing to St. Louis. Philadelphia, our team here today, leading.
What that means is Philadelphia and Tampa Bay could flip-flop so that Philly could actually end up in Tampa, or Tampa could end up here.
That's the way they feel it's going to play out, one or the other. And here is Corey Dillon, who finally brings it hard, takes on tacklers, drives ahead for 7 yards, and the first down for the Bengals.
One of the things we spoke to Andy Reid yesterday about Corey Dillon, he says, man, the guy's just, he's big, and the thing we have to do about it is don't give him any cutbacks. He goes out, he's got such good vision. You see here, and I'll tell you, folks, 1,396 yards coming into today. That is a monster year for a running back.
Back they go, and Dillon again finds a crack and shoots ahead for a gain of about 5 yards on 1st down. 2nd and 5. Carlos Emmons again on the tackle.
Well, Corey does one. We did the game where he rushed for 278 yards versus Denver, and it was a spectacle. I mean, you really got the sense late in that game that it was a historic moment, and it looked at when you saw the numbers he put up.
And that is the end of the first quarter with a score. The Eagles 10, the Bengals nothing. We'll return to Philadelphia after these messages from your local station. We're back to the vet in Philadelphia. The Bengals down 10-0. They rallied from behind in the 4th quarter against Jacksonville last week. They won't go away. They're not as good a team as the Eagles, but they won't go away. They'll be playing it out for 4 quarters every down. Mitchell takes a look, long ball. He's got a guy, and it's batted away beautifully. Bobby Taylor tips it away. There is a penalty marker down, though. One of the in the backfield of the Bengals and one at the line of scrimmage.
I think it's going to be encroachment on the defensive side of the ball. Bobby Taylor made a sensational play on Peter Warrick and Scott Mitchell's pass. You could not play that any better unless you picked it off.
2nd down.
So they mark off the penalty. Moving the ball out to the 40-yard line. Mitchell, a big quarterback at 6'6", 240 pounds. High set in the backfield. On a quick hitter, they go to the fullback, and Nick Williams takes it ahead, and on second and short, he has a first down. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker wishing you and yours a very happy holidays. A tremendous conclusion to one of the best NFL seasons I've ever seen.
The NFL couldn't ask for anything more. There may be 6 new division winners across the National Football League, and 13 of the 15 games this weekend have playoff implications. It's an amazing year in the National Football League.
Corey Dillon running wide to the near side on first down and 10, doesn't get much. The big question in Cincinnati, will Corey Dillon be back? He's a free agent after this season. Peter Warwick, who's a good friend of his, said he thinks he will. And we're told that the Bengals will match any offer another team makes to Corey Dillon. Peter Warwick told us that he likes Cincinnati, likes the organization, and he doesn't like change. So if the money's right, he's going to be back there, and he is one of the best backs in football. Absolutely a load. He knocks people back. On second down and 10, he gets just a couple there. Dillon over 1,400 yards for the season.
And unfortunately for the Cincinnati Bengals, once again, they're kind of at this point of the season, they're waiting to see where they sit for next year in the draft order. And also this, they've got almost $20 million to spend for cap money next year. That's a lot of room to spend for good players around the National Football League. They could position themselves to be a playoff team, much as the Eagles have done in the last 2 years.
Eagles have done a brilliant job with the cap under Joe Banner, Tom Modrak. As here's a sideline throw, and the ball is connected to the rookie receiver, Ron Dugans, another Florida State rookie. That's good for a 10-yard gain, so well done by the quarterback Mitchell, bailing out and finding a guy free. Just the 13th catch of the year for the rookie, number 81,
He's
Ron
getting
Dugans.
extra opportunity to play. Let's face it, they want to find out what these guys can do, because they're going to have to sign 80 players for training camp to come back and form this team next year. Dugans coming out, keeping himself alive as Scott Mitchell rolls out to the left and making a play.
Back they go, and they go to the big fullback, Nick Williams, out of Miami of Florida, 267-pound fullback. And he is ahead inside of the 32-yard line. Monday on CBS, join Charlie Brown and the Peanuts gang for the holiday classic you love, a Charlie Brown Christmas. Then it's a double dose of Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Becker starring Ted Danson, and Monday's #1 drama, Family Law. It's all here Monday on CBS. Second down and 9. Dillon. Beautifully done on defense. Carlos Emmons having a big game at outside backer, a big rangy backer, and also on the play was Paul Grassmanis, free agent defensive tackle number 96.
You know, you always talk about good defenses in the National Football League, and they always have these great players, but the thing that makes this Philadelphia defense so good is they're unselfish. They all play together. They don't try and do anything but what they're supposed to do. They know each other so well. They have such faith in the scheme. Nobody's out of position, and therefore there's no place for Corey Dillon to run.
And it's a defense with 3 Pro Bowlers in it. Here's a throw downfield, and it is incomplete. There are no penalty markers down. Coming on a 3rd down and 9 play. Danny Farmer was the guy that Mitchell was looking to. Farmer, who caught 5 passes for over 100 yards last week.
You'll see here coming right up the middle, Jeremiah Trotter coming up, slips through along with Brandon Whiting. Scott Mitchell's got to get rid of that football or risk the sack. This defense, get after him defense. They're aggressive. They like what they're doing. They're actually better, I think, in the pass rush than they are versus the rush. And now they're going to go for it on 4th and 9.
From the 33, and the shot, here's the blitz, a throw and a drop ball as Farmer, who coughed it up once on a fumble, had his hands on it, then it's knocked free. And so the Eagle defense, once again, is better than the Bengal offense and takes over the ball. So the Eagles, looking every bit the playoff team they are, takes over when we come back. Dick LeBeau, now extended as the head coach. He took over after week 3. After the Bengals had been outscored in that 0-3 start, 74-7. And he is a 4-8 as the head coach, but they're winning of late. Here's a high throw coming in from the strong arm Donovan McNabb. Done to Torrance Small, 2nd and 10.
There's Dick LeBeau, who has removed, I think, the interim tag from his name. One of a handful of other coaches around the National Football League who were given the interim jobs after the head guy left. And Dick LeBeau, his players were vocally and very supportive of him getting that job, and they made it happen.
Now they've got to stand up and play like they did last week to stay with a standout Eagle team. Here is a 2nd down and 10 play. Look at McNabb like a matador, dancing away from the tacklers and sliding to a halt for a gain on the play, as McNabb is almost unsackable.
That shows great poise. You know he can run so well, and yet he stands in the pocket and gives his receivers every opportunity to get open. You see there Corey Hall swipes, gets around, then he just trying to stay and contain him. Donovan McNabb just hopping around in the pocket. Nobody gets near him, and then he breaks loose, and he gets a 4-yard gain on 1st down, or on 2nd down, and that's the basis of a successful quarterback. He just doesn't take any negative plays.
Well, he's now run 3 times when he's gotten in trouble, Steve, and he's gained 20 yards. This is 3rd down and 6. Here's a throw and a catch. What a play. It's going to go for a 1st down as Nate Brown is ahead for a 7-yard gain.
And we were talking a minute ago about the interim coaches. This is the guys: Dick LeBeau, Cincinnati, Dave McGinnis in Arizona, Gary Moeller, obviously, in Detroit, and Terry Robisky is probably the only one of those guys who hasn't been rehired thus far, 0-2 in his tenure. And, there's some typical things that happen, Don, when they get interim coaches.
Well, the best way they can keep the job is win games. And
exactly.
Right now, they go to the run, head for a 7-yard gain. Darnell Autry carries the ball.
One of the things that happens when they hire these interim coaches from teams, usually they always hire the most popular coordinator, either offensive or defense. So the players really respond. They're getting the players' favorite guy in the driver's seat. So then it's logical that the players start to play a little better for the guy because they want him to be the head guy, and that's what's happened here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, the players stood up for LeBeau, and management responded. They signed him to a multiple-year contract. Here's a long ball downfield. Incomplete at the 10-yard line. The penalty markers are down at the line of scrimmage as this game is heating up. People starting up on the defensive and offensive lines after the play, and there's a holding call signaled against the Eagles. So instead of 3rd down and 4, it's going to be now 3rd down and long.
You know, we've watched a lot of games this year, Don.
Holding, 38 offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
And it doesn't matter who the teams are and how much of a mismatch it looks like on paper. When these teams in the NFL take the field, you'll see here, right there is the takedown. That's Cecil Martin taking down. But no matter what the mismatch is on paper, these teams come out and play hard. It is so difficult to win in this thing, and I think that's a testament to how this game has come this year. The league is so equal and so balanced. There's so many teams with a shot, and it shows itself every game on every Sunday.
Now it'll be 2nd down and 13 for the Eagles. And often the tackle's made in the backfield as Steve Foley shoots the gap. Knocks down Stanley Pritchett. Wednesday on CBS, the Stars turn out for a night of spectacular performances as America pays tribute to Clint Eastwood, Angela Lansbury, Chuck Berry, and more. Don't miss the Kennedy Center Honors Wednesday on CBS. 3rd down and 13 for McNabb and the Eagles, who lead the game 10-0 as you see. Down to 8:50 to play in the first half. McNabb stepping up, throws downfield, and comes in a little bit hard and to the wrong side of Small. And now there's a penalty marker down.
Yeah, they're going to call the interference. A whole defensive holding. It happened just before the pass got there.
27 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Artrell Hawkins, one of the cornerbacks, called for holding. So the ball is positioned now at the 44-yard line.
You see, here's McNabb He'll see Torrance Small coming across, tries to hit him, and throws the ball just a hair behind him. I didn't see any holding on that play. Fourth at different times during the year, but Artrell Hawkins getting the start today.
And on first down and 10, they go to a reverse. Running wide is Charles Johnson, and Bengals not buying it as we have a knockout hit put on. Javon Langford came over. One of the defensive backs also got a hop in, but
I don't know if Charles Johnson said anything when Donovan McNabb handed in this ball, but I'll tell you one thing, I would have been screaming, "Don't give it to me," because Javon Langford was waiting on him, and so was Artrell Hawkins at the end of it. That was a team meeting for the Bengals over there where Charles Johnson was trying to run that football, and he could see it coming.
Isn't a tougher guy in the league than Charles Johnson. I've never seen a guy that go into the teeth of a defense, dive for a pass like Charles Johnson from his days with the Eagles. Again, McNabb escapes the rush, fires on the run, comes in low, and it's incomplete. On a second down and 10 play, he fires at Charles Johnson. Bengals getting consistent pressure on McNabb, but he keeps eluding it with his great feet.
And not only is he having to elude the pressure, his receivers are having a hard time coming open. They're having trouble stopping and planning and coming back to help him. You'll see here's McNabb rolls out. He's got lots of time. The receivers know that he's scrambling, and they're having trouble breaking off their routes and finding a way to get open. You see there, good coverage on the play by Mark Roman, as even after the play is broken down, the defensive backs are staying on their men.
Andy Reid said these Bengals play hard. They might have a losing record, but he was concerned about this team. Here's a long ball downfield. McNabb throws, and he's intercepted. The ball is picked off, and running it back is Corey Hall across the 30, across the 35, and so the Bengals get a turnover to even the turnover count at 1 apiece. Cincinnati down by 10 has the ball, and we come back to the vet.
Keep going. We almost had it. Sorry, guys. Can we get another one, please? Okay. Let's do this again. Okay. One more time. Yeah.
This holiday season, Miller Lite wishes you safe and happy Miller times.
ダメだ。このバルブは高すぎるんだ。
サプライヤーはそこしかないですから。美智子はいかがですか。
美智子？
今オンラインで提示額が出ました。半額です。
どこの会社だ？
テキサスです。
テキサス？どうもありがとう。
What are you doing?
Get your own Volkswagen. With the great deals we're offering right now, it's never been easier.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
One of the Eagles' top players, there's Artrell Hawkins, has made a big play, is down. That's Charles Johnson being attended to. He's had a great start today, including a 39-yard touchdown reception for the game's only touchdown in this 10-0 lead, but Johnson's shaken up in that play. Looked like he might have a
cut or something.
Laceration of his mouth, yeah.
Whenever there's an unexpected thing that happens, like an interception or something, and you get wide receivers, and it's funny because when the guy picks the ball off, it takes a little while for everybody to realize what's happened. Some of the guys see the interception right away. Some of them don't see it until late. You get caught unawares and therefore vulnerable.
So far, McNabb has thrown the ball 14 times, has completed 5 for 70 yards, 1 touchdown and the interception a moment ago. Peter Warwick had an interesting observation about the Bengal team. He said when he was at Florida State, obviously they dominated everybody. And he said people look on us like we used to look on Wake Forest when we were at Florida State.
Yeah, we're the Wake Forest of the NFL, talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. And he said he goes home every night just mad because, you know, of the success or lack thereof they've had this year.
He'll make a huge play today. It might be now. Here comes Warwick turning the corner. And Warwick dances ahead for yardage on a 1st and 10 play. He's down to the 38-yard line, a gain of 5. This guy is a winner. Look at him in high school.
Football record over 2 seasons, he was 29-1. Basketball record 1 year, he was 35-0 with a state championship. Then obviously the success he had at Florida State University. They only lost 4 games in his career in college. He was also a long jumper.
People were reeling off all the things he did. He said, hey, I'm an athlete. I'm bragging about it. He said, that's what he is.
Yeah, he is, too.
I asked him about what's the key to returning kicks for touchdowns. He said, well, he said, nobody knows what I'm going to do, including me.
That's right. He said, you know, what do you tell the guys in front? He says, man, I just tell the guys to block their man and just give me the ball. And that's and he's had some success doing it. They're just trying to find new and different ways to get him involved.
See that Jet-Baltimore game tightening up, 14-10. As now, Corey Dillon tries to go wide on 3rd and 1, and he's knocked down for a loss by safety Brian Dawkins. For more on Corey Dillon, let's go down to Beasley Reese.
All right, thanks a lot, Don. Coach Andy Reid has very high praise for Corey Dillon. He says that he uses his offhand. Let's say if I've got the ball right here, I'm talking about this hand. Better than anyone he's seen, fending off potential tacklers. And Steve Tasker mentioned earlier that he considers him the best cutback runner in all of football, and that's very high praise. Back to you.
Well, he's deserving of whatever praise anybody can give him, that's for sure. We saw him against Denver when he set the NFL record for rushing in a game, 278 yards. And that cutback is his great strength. He has tremendous balance, speed, power. But if there's a little gap, boy, he finds it and cuts right back into it.
Volkswagen owners really love their cars. And right now, we're offering some great deals to help spread the love around.
I'm okay.
Dudley, get the paper.
Clean, crisp newspaper delivered to your printer automatically.
Last year, this team humiliated us in our house. Now we're in their house. Let's cross them.
Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers. Peanuts, caramel, and chocolate. That ought to hold you.
Sorry, guys. Has anybody got a cell phone?
Hungry? Grab a Snickers.
The NFL Today shows you everything you need to know about the playoffs.
On CBS.
Back to the vet, where Coach Andy Reid, certainly a candidate for Coach of the Year honors, has seen his team take a 10-0 lead. Now with 6:10 to go in the first half. Eagles have the ball 1st and 10 at their 30-yard line. The pitch back. Mitchell making any tacklers and gets ahead for a hard-earned 4 yards before he's knocked down. Coming up to make the play, Cecil Martin actually carrying the ball. And the knockdown made at the 34-yard line, a gain of 4. Stopping the play was linebacker Takeo Spikes, first to hit him.
The Eagles have struggled in their last two drives, 19 plays. That's the first 2 drives they've done well. The last 2 drives, the Cincinnati's kind of solved the riddle and has stopped them. Donovan McNabb has not thrown the ball very well since the touchdown pass he hit to Charles Johnson a little while ago.
Yeah, McNabb 5 for 14 for the game now. Here's a give and a driving run by Chris Warren on 2nd down and 5. He breaks it ahead for a gain of 10 yards and a Philadelphia first down.
One of the things you need and what this Philadelphia team is searching for is someone to take the pressure off Donovan McNabb, and that could be the guy right there, Chris Warren. But Donovan McNabb there's no question, he's going to continue to be the catalyst for this club. But the more people they can give to help him, the better off they're going to be, obviously.
Their running game before they got Chris Warren, Steve, in the previous 5 games averaged under 3 yards a rush when they had running back by committee with Autry, Mitchell, and Pritchett, sometimes Martin. Here's the big, tough Chris Warren again, who's had some great years, particularly with the Seattle Seahawks.
And that's one of the things about him, this running back by committee. A lot of guys have carried the football for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Chris Warren is just one more guy they're doing to try and get him. These are all the guys, look at him. These are their leading rushers. You can see nobody's carried the ball very much. He's got 8 rushes for 33 yards. He's the top guy, but they're going to continue to mix people in there.
Here they go on 2nd down and 8. This time it's Darnell Autry who runs the ball across the 50-yard line down to the 49. Darnell Autry left football to try to be an actor in Hollywood. He tried out for the movie On Any Given Sunday, a football movie. Oliver Stone, the director, said it didn't take him. He said he didn't look enough like a football player.
Yeah, he's too good looking to be a football player. Doesn't have enough nicks and bruises on him, I don't think.
Of course, the tremendous runner for the Eagles, Deuce Staley, out for the year with an injury. Here's a throw up the middle, and they gun the ball to tight end with the ball, moving it down and inside at the 38-yard line for an 11-yard gain on the play. They actually get out of the fullback Pritchett coming out, and he's ahead as the Eagles drive on now. It's a shorter passing game.
Well, this is Donovan McNabb just being prepared. He knows the guys are down there, and when the fullback snaps underneath, he knows the coverage was to the outside. He knows his fullback's going to break inside, and he just waits for it to happen. And watch then Stanley Pritchett breaking a couple of tackles, getting the yardage that you like to see a fullback be able to get.
They get enough for the first down. Eagles driving on. Back to the run they go. And Chris Warren getting some hard yards.
Well, I'm sorry, Don. One of the things about these hard yards that they're getting, they've got so many guys they hand the ball to. Chris Warren's just one of them. Warren comes in, and he comes in their base personnel. There's 2 backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. And if they bring in Brian Mitchell, they'll put in 3 wide receivers with Brian Mitchell with him in the backfield with a fullback, and then Darnell Autry comes in a different personnel group as well. So they kind of specialize their running backs to get the most out of them that they can, but in doing so, sometimes they become predictable.
Well, they've been methodical and certainly effective, as here's a throw to an open man. Running is Torrance Small. Spins inside the 30 and very close to the first down. It looks like he got 9 yards, and he did indeed get the first down, as the Eagles drive on as we take it down now to the 2-minute warning in the first half. So the Eagles looking good as advertised with timeout.
I'm Dr. Norman Gary, and I'm a bee expert. All right, bee.
Dr. Norman Gary will do some pretty outrageous things.
I've been stung probably around 75,000 times.
But would Norm Gary ever get car insurance that didn't come with a State Farm agent?
Car insurance with no State Farm agent? Now that makes me nervous.
For car insurance, be like this State Farm customer.
Enjoy.
And get an agent you can rely on.
Here, have some more.
Plus competitive rates.
I was homeward bound. When the music's
New MSN Explorer. Everything you need to feel at home on the web, all in one place. Now MSN is faster than ever. Get new MSN high speed at Radio Shack today.
are you doing?
Get your own Volkswagen. With the great deals we're offering right now, it's never been easier.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And by MSN. Everything you need to feel at home on the web, all in one place.
Back to the net in Philadelphia. There's the man with the toughest road schedule of all, Santa Claus.
Yeah, but he never runs into a hostile crowd, though.
Coming up, the NASDAQ.com halftime report with Jim, Mike, and Randy. Scores and highlights. And the latest playoff news. And the playoff news is changing as fast as the scoreboards are changing on the 17th Sunday.
You talk about road schedules. This Philadelphia team has become a pretty good road team this year after struggling, obviously, as every team who struggles does. It's easy to struggle on the road, but this team's 6-2 on the road this year, and that's really helped them.
They hadn't won a road game in 3 previous years. That's super. Here's the ball thrown downfield, caught for a moment and dropped by Cecil Martin. Our major Spearman, the middle backer, was covering on the play. The ball was right where it had to be, but the big guy couldn't handle it.
Donovan McNabb threw this ball up, gave his guy a chance to make a play. He's covered, but the ball dropped in there, and it looked like he almost tucked it away, didn't get both feet down with it. You'll see there, he thinks he might have caught it. Nope, came out, and watch as he continues to go after it, thinking he fumbled it. It was a well-defended play, but it was just a great throw by McNabb.
As it was, on target on these bitter cold days. It's tougher to catch the ball, but not hard to cough it up, as we saw earlier when Farmer caught the ball and lost it on a fumble. Darrell Williams comes in quickly and makes the tackle on Chad Lewis.
We were just talking to, I thought it was interesting. You asked Andy Reid, what was the difference in the way that they've played on the road? Why are they good? Why are they 6-2 now when they hadn't won a road game in 3 years? And he said, hey, if you're good, you're good. Nevertheless, if Tampa Bay wins or loses, this is a team, the Eagles, that may not have to go on the road next weekend. They can stay at home. And that's the way it looks like it's going up in Green Bay.
Well, the Eagles win this, and the Packers beat Tampa Bay. The Eagles are at home next week. Here's a hard-thrown ball, very close to a foul on the defense. As Hawkins was on the back of Chad Lewis. The official says he was right there on time.
Now you've got an interesting situation here. It's 4th and 9 on your opponent's 27-yard line. You got a good kicker. Yeah, you're going to take the 3. No question. You got a 10-point lead. Give your kicker a chance to extend the lead. That's a good call. Andy Reid seemed to hesitate about the decision, but finally David Akers comes out.
Akers having a tremendous year. That's why he's a Pro Bowl alternate. He's hit 27 of 30 field goals. Told me before the game his career long is 56 in the preseason game. This is a 45-yarder, and he drives it through. And the Eagles drive on closer to home field next week in the NFC wildcard game.
Wait for impact!
Critics call it a visual stunner.
Everybody!
Unforgettable.
I would rather take my chance out there on the ocean than to stay here and die.
An incredible ride. Tom Hanks.
Hold on!
A Robert Zemeckis film. Castaway. Rated PG-13. The adventure has begun.
To you, I just go from point A to point B. All you care about is if my light is on or off. I'm nobody.
I'm anonymous.
I'm just a set of wheels to you. You'll never remember my name.
You probably can't even pronounce it.
But under the right set of circumstances, I could be your best friend in the world. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey,
where you going?
Wiring the school for the internet is a big job. You might get some floor damage with the backhoe. The dumpsters are green. They're nice, like nature. Hello?
There's a hard way to bring the internet to your school and an easy way, the wireless way with the Dell True Mobile Wireless Computer Lab. It stores up to 35 notebook computers that are wireless internet ready, turning every classroom into an interactive technology center.
Can you pay cash?
Wireless internet, made easy with Dell.
Dell Latitude notebooks use Intel Pentium 3 processors.
CBS Sports presents a special look at these inspirational athletes performing extraordinary feats. The Sydney 2000 Paralympic Games, next Sunday on CBS.
Monday on CBS, gather the whole family and join Charlie Brown and the Peanuts Gang for the holiday classic everyone loves. What a way to kick off the night, a Charlie Brown Christmas, Monday on CBS. Good grief, says Dick LeBeau. We're down 13-0. As Akers is ready to kick the ball off. High spinning kick. Returned out across the 20-yard line, close to the 22. 10-yard return on the play. You see Akers setting Eagles all-time scoring record, 118 points.
For a season, that's a great year for a guy who's hit a 27 of, I believe, 31 field goal attempts this year. Fantastic year.
My left foot is what David Akers uses. He's been around, though. He was at Washington, at Carolina, and Atlanta before settling into a Pro Bowl quality career here with the Eagles. It is just his second year out of Texas, so kickers travel fast, and their luck changes like the roll of the dice.
They're the only position in football, other than perhaps a punter, because there's a timeout on the field. They're the only position in football that's actually, you can actually just plug into a team and have him be effective. And that's, you know, you can't do that with a quarterback, obviously, or running back. Nobody else. Maybe sometimes they'll do it with a punt returner, but a kicker who is the most important position that you can actually just, you know, get a guy off the street, put him out there, see if he can do it.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Papa John's Bumps and Jumps, where many of the best aerialists and mogul skiers show off in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Coming up next on the CBS Sports Spectacular, Dick LeBeau in his 39th year in professional football. Spent 14 years with the Lions as one of the best cornerbacks in the game. Now a head coach for the first time this season, as again there's not much happening for the Cincinnati runners as they're getting slammed back. Brandon Bennett had it for a moment, and then he was knocked down quickly. Saw a little bit of a gap. Very good defensive front for the Eagles. You can feel it in the air. It's that time of year again when the NFL's best go head-to-head. One loss and you're done. Keep an eye on CBS from the wild card weekend through to the Super Bowl. It all begins next weekend. Tennessee Titans and the Minnesota Vikings, they're sure shots. The Jets battling to get in. The Eagles are there. And they all say, and you went to 4 Super Bowls, Steve, with the Buffalo Bills. This already fast game picks up speed when the playoffs come.
It certainly does. Every play's magnified, and you can feel it when you're in the locker room before the game, let alone when you step onto the field. The playoffs are a whole different animal.
Third down, a long 3 now for the Bengals. They go to the run. Corey Dillon breaks it. And Dillon, running hard, gets the ball out across the 35 for an 8-yard gain. First down, Bengals. Penalty marker down, however.
There's a timeout taken also by the Bengals. Holding against the Bengals. You talk about the playoffs done, and the young players on these teams.
Holding, 80 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat third down. There is no charge timeout to Cincinnati.
As these teams take the field, you know, in the preseason, guys like Peter Wark, they come out of college. You know, they don't know anything about the playoffs. They play through the preseason. Then in the regular season, everything steps up. They can't believe the speed of the game. Well, that's another step they've got to take when the playoffs come around. And we're on the doorstep of the playoffs here as the Eagles are headed in to the NFC playoff tournament. And it is something that's really a testament to that guy right there.
Big Andy Reid, who was never even a coordinator in the NFL before he got the Eagle job. A lot of people criticized the choice, but as team owner Jeff Lurie said, we had 2 big decisions to make that year, coach and quarterback, and fortunately we got them both right. Andy Reid as coach, Donovan McNabb as the 2nd pick in the draft as quarterback, and the Eagles have rolled on ever since.
And now Cincinnati takes that timeout. They weren't charged a timeout because of the penalty. The clock stopped, so they got their timeout back. They got the first down. Now they're taking it, giving themselves a chance to get into field goal range. I think to do that, though, Don, they're going to have to throw it.
The NFC playoff picture. The Giants at rest now. They get a week off after securing home field. The Vikings go later in a critically important game against the Colts in Indianapolis. New Orleans battling it out today with St. Louis.
Yeah, there's that last spot that Detroit is sitting in. There's 3 teams that have a shot at it: St. Louis and Green Bay. And the only way Green Bay can get in is if Detroit and St. Louis both lose, and Green Bay, of course, wins.
Here's Mitchell taking a look, looking to fire the left-hander, and he gets out of the tackle box and throws the ball away because the Eagle defense is too good. They're trying to get the ball in the hands of Peter Warrick, but the Eagles, with their defensive coordinator Jim Johnson calling the schemes, is just too good.
Yeah, what we said a moment ago, to get the ball into field goal range, they're going to have to throw it. And Scott Mitchell trying to make something happen. There you see the back of Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia. And he's a pretty personable guy. We spoke to him briefly yesterday. You can just get the feeling, and as a former player, I kind of tried to assess what I would feel if I played for him, and he's a guy they'd love to play for.
Well, he's not. His defense isn't very personable. They really attack. Here's the throw to Marco Battaglia, the tight end, catching just his 12th pass of the year. Mike Caldwell quickly gets him down after a 7-yard gain. But the game clock winding down, as you see, to 11 seconds to play in the half. Eagle D pitching a shutout. Mitchell throws and makes really a useless connection to Craig Yeast for a couple of yards. That'll do it. First half ends, and Dick LeBeau and his Bengals go to the locker room down to the favorite Eagles 13-0.
And that's exactly where the Eagles want to be. 13 points ahead at home, playing it very conservatively. Donovan McNabb's taking a couple of shots down the field, but this is exactly where the Eagles want to be. They're doing a little bit of scoreboard watching and hoping that the other games fall their way so they can stay home next weekend in Cincinnati, getting a look at some young guys and trying to keep it together emotionally. And they're finding out now just how far they have to go to be a playoff team like the Eagles are.
Well, I can tell you one thing, and you know this too, that the Bengals will not go away. They'll fight this out to the final snap. And now let's go down to Beasley, who has Andy Reid with him.
All right, Coach, now you're winning, Tampa Bay is losing. Did you take one look, a tiny look at the scoreboard?
If I did, I didn't see that score.
Okay. Yeah. All right, what's the number one thing you're going to tell the guys in the locker room?
We got to stay aggressive. We got to keep coming out and playing the way we played the first half, except score touchdowns and not field goals.
Is there anything that surprised you? It looks like you had something on their corners. You're throwing a lot of deep balls, particularly on first down.
Well, we have been, and I can't tell you that yet.
Oh, you can't tell me? All right, Coach.
You might go tell those corners.
I won't
There's
tell
a union there.
Thank you very much. Let's go back upstairs to Dr.
Don't give them an inch.
That's the end of the first half with the score. The Eagles 13 and the Bengals nothing. We'll send you back to Jim Nantz in New York right after these messages.
Tuesday on 60 Minutes 2, you might call what Lance Armstrong did amazing or even a miracle when you hear how he beat cancer. Tuesday at 9, 8 Central.
CBS Friday. Every time Dr. Richard Kimball saves a life, he risks his own.
Don't you hurt her!
Now's the perfect time to experience
I said hands up.
The Fugitive. And if you haven't seen the Golden Globe nominee for Best Drama, this is your chance to see how it all began.
I promise you, there is always a clue.
CSI, The Fugitive, Friday.
Who will be this year's favorites? Find out on The People's Choice, CBS January 7th.
Enjoy the performance before it begins. The 260 horsepower CL Type S from Acura.
My resolution? To have more fun.
I'll spend more time with my family.
This year, I'll save money.
Make good on these resolutions.
Season Jim Nantz with you on the NASDAQ.com halftime report.
Let's start here. I tell you, Donovan McNabb might be the most athletic quarterback I've seen. Here early, they strip the ball. Bobby Taylor comes up with the fumble. But watch the play of McNabb. He makes so many great fake, great throw, great catch. I know it's a cliche, but watch what. Just a great effort for Charles Johnson to get the ball in the end zone.
Mike, are those guys having fun or what?
Oh, I love the Eagles. I mean, they got to be a big threat going down the line. They're just having fun.
Packers need some help 2 ways, plus they must win their game. 7-0 lead on a touchdown by Amon Green. Backup quarterbacks have come in this game. The Bears have Shea Matthews out. He's been replaced by Cade McNown. Stoney Case in for Charlie Batch, who will not return. The Lions are in if they are victorious today and leading third quarter 10-6. However, should the Lions fall and the Rams win, St. Louis, the Super Bowl champs a year ago, would make it into the playoffs, leading 13-7 down in New Orleans. Kansas City and Atlanta on to the third quarter. Falcons on top of this one.
Well, the mall's looking pretty crowded in Atlanta, my hometown, because nobody's at the Falcons game. But Chris Chandler decided he wants to put on a little show. Here to Sean Jefferson, the veteran, has been with quite a few teams. Chandler hasn't had it all easy the whole time. Defensive end Eric Hicks gets a 6-yard loss there. 7-0 lead Atlanta in the first quarter. But Elvis Gerbach finds Tony Gonzalez, who's trying to get into the 90s in receptions, gets himself a touchdown right there.
13-7 Falcons. They're playing in the third. Arizona at Washington. Redskins had rolled up 13 first downs before the Cardinals even amassed their first. 20-3 lead for the Redskins, including a Champ Bailey 7-yard touchdown run. Thanks for being with us on the NASDAQ.com Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ.com Halftime Report is sponsored by NASDAQ.com, the information source for the serious investor.
Ladies and gentlemen, check it out, John. Automator on the feet.
The NFL customized jersey. Choose any team, any name, any number. Call 1-877-NFL-SHOP.
I want you to get together.
Players! This is the game of football, giving you a shout-out. It's playoff time! Coaches get tricky. Big players make big plays, and the only thing a win can buy you is one more week. It's playoff time! You don't know if you're coming back to the top next year. You don't even know if you're coming back. So come on now, show me something!
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ.com Halftime Report is sponsored by NASDAQ.com, the information source for the serious investor.
We'll return to Philadelphia after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 35.
Well, happy holidays from all of us at CBS.
The all-new Dodge Grand Caravan is the best minivan ever. In fact, AAA made it their best, too. Now get up to $1,000 cash allowance on Dodge Caravan. How's that for getting the new year off on the right foot?
Whether you're running indoors or out, it's important to keep the winning form.
I'm orthopedic surgeon John Williams of Albert Einstein Medical Center. Keep your joints safe when you run. Wear well-cushioned running shoes that fit. Avoid running on hard surfaces. And always remember to warm up and stretch. Run smart and stay in winning form.
Albert Einstein Healthcare Network. Call 1-800-EINSTEIN.
Excuse me, this is my cab.
I'm sorry.
Can we share a cab?
Why not?
You're with Fidelity.
That's right.
Let me ask you something. I still have a 401k from a job that I had 3 jobs ago. Can I move that?
Oh, most of the time, sure. It's called a rollover.
Really?
We can do all the paperwork, and you just sign and roll it into an IRA, and you can buy stocks or mutual funds, whatever you're comfortable with.
And I'd be in control of it?
Sure.
Get my life down to one sheet of paper.
To invest, call, click, or visit Fidelity.
We have the most complete lineup of sport utility vehicles on the planet. We have all new models and styles, plus the quality you want and the service you demand. We are your Ford Outfitters. And now get financing as low as 0.9% on a go anywhere Ford or Explorer. That's right, as low as 0.9% on Explorer. That means interest savings as great as $5,100. In this hectic world, we give you no boundaries. Ford Outfitters, your quality plus Ford dealers.
Happy Hanukkah from KYW3.
At the half, the Eagles moving along smartly to a 13-0 halftime lead. Don Prickey with Steve Tasker. The Philadelphia Eagles closing in on that home field they've sought in the opening round of wild card game next week, as they're winning and Tampa Bay's losing, so it's good news. And there's been some good plays by the Eagles in this first half, including the one big hit, the 39-yard touchdown throw to Charles Johnson, who later suffered a lacerated lip. He's expected back. Ryan Mitchell takes the kickoff back. He's across the 20 and out across the 25, turning the corner, and the Bengals come calling and knock him down to the 28-yard line. As we look at some first half statistics and highlights.
One of the things, Troy Vincent's an all-pro, and he's working against Danny Farmer, the rookie, and you think one play kind of sets up another. You see here, they get in each other's face. Troy Vincent knows it's a long afternoon, but he wants to get the best of every battle. The next play, he comes back, forces the fumble on Danny Farmer, gives the Eagles an extra possession, and here's the touchdown pass to Charles Johnson, extending to the end zone, and the Eagles are off and running. And really, the Bengals defense has not played that poorly. It's the offense that hasn't been able to help them.
Yeah, the offense has done nothing against the Eagle defense. Here's a throw, a short connection, as Donovan McNabb triggers it up to his tight end, Chad Lewis. As he continues to build his Pro Bowl numbers, the halftime stats, you see the overall yards, not much for either side, particularly for the Bengals, just
the biggest,
94.
Exactly. The biggest thing is time of possession, 7 minutes of advantage for the Eagles. They've got the ball all the time, and it just seems as Cincinnati, when they get it, can't do anything with it.
And points off turnovers, the Eagles getting their only touchdown after the Farmer fumble and recovery. Here's a long ball. Downfield, it's incomplete as Todd Pinkston, the very lithe rookie, just 170 pounds, 6'3", had the ball on his hands but couldn't bring it in.
Well, you think a guy like Todd Pinkston, he was the 23rd pick of the draft, coming in, trying to find his way around. He's a little light, as you mentioned. He's a kind of a wisp of a guy, very tall, but he's a guy that's got a lot of speed and has learned a lot, and he's a guy that came into the league on a playoff team trying to feel his way around, and he's going to see a big step up in 1 week when this team takes its first snap in the playoffs. It's a whole new ball game.
Right now, it is a 3rd down and 5 coming up. McNabb stands in, releases, and hits the first down throw to the 41-yard line. A gain of 8 yards on the play as he gets Charles Johnson. So good to see Charles back in good health after he took that shot in the mouth.
Yeah, coming back, catching a tough pass with stitches in his lip.
Of course, the big catch was made by Johnson, the 39-yard touchdown catch.
Hey, you'd think Charles Johnson would play hockey, taking stitches and coming back into the game. But right here, Corey Hall, bang, right into Donovan McNabb. And you think as a defense, if you can keep pounding on a quarterback, sooner or later it's going to be to your advantage. He's going to start to affect him in the way that he throws. Not yet, though, for McNabb and the Eagles.
McNabb with the first down. All on the field. And it looks like the Bengals got it. So a second turnover by Philadelphia, and it is indeed The Bengals who get the ball. So Coach LeBeau has something to clap about.
You'll never find an easier fumble recovery than the one you just saw there by Takeo Spikes. This ball pops out and just falls right at his feet. Watch here. Donovan McNabb loses the handle, falls right into his stomach. Nothing anybody can do except walk off the field.
Last.
Want to get away?
Oh.
Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines coast to coast for $99 or less when you purchase tickets by January 16th and travel Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
You are now free to move about the country.
You heard about Benny the Bison?
No, what?
He never checked out the risk and overall performance of those mutual funds he bought.
Well, Benny's no brain surgeon, right?
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we created a smarter kind of investor with tools like the Schwab Select List, which highlights historically high-performing mutual funds. Visit schwabwelcome.com to order a free copy of the Select List.
You don't do your homework, you end up looking ridiculous.
Car and Driver ranked the Mazda Protege ES the #1 compact sedan, beating out Honda, Toyota, and Nissan in an extensive comparison test. But the experts didn't stop there. They say it offers BMW Verve for less than half the price, to which we can only add,
Christmas Day, gather the whole family and join Charlie Brown with the Peanuts Gang for the holiday classic you love.
I think it needs me.
What a way to kick off the night. A Charlie Brown Christmas, CBS Monday.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
The Bengals force a turnover. Can they capitalize? Here's a swing pass and poorly thrown to Nick Williams as we go back to the sideline of Beasley Reese. Beasley?
All right, thanks a lot. I spoke to Coach Dick LeBeau coming out of the locker room. He sounded upbeat. He said they started off a little shaky, but they got the thing stabilized, and he was very upbeat about the second half. And looks like he was right as the Bengals have possession and trying to get something going. Back to you.
Well, as we mentioned, they won't go away, these Bengals. Another timing throw. Here's a swing pass. Nicely done, but the ball is dropped. So the Bengals on consecutive swing passes are unable to connect. That was a drop by the intended receiver, Corey Dillon. That might have actually been a lateral. I think.
Yeah, it was a lateral. They're going to mark it at this point when it rolled out of bounds. Scott Mitchell throwing the ball out to Corey Dillon. We spoke to Scott Mitchell yesterday about Dick LeBeau, and he said, you know who Dick LeBeau reminds me of? And we were like, no, who? He says, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, he said,
what? Which Clint? Was it the outlaw Josie Wales Clint Eastwood, or was it the Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood? He said, no, he's the Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood, Dick LeBeau. So, no wonder the players are playing for the guy, huh?
Well, they were thrilled when he got the full-time job. Now they've got to back it up. This is a 3rd and long coming up. 3rd and 16. Near side throw and a catch for a gain of about 3 yards. So far the Cincinnati passing game has been absolutely ineffective against the Eagle defense. Nothing. Less than 40 yards passing for the Bengals against the Eagles.
And Ron Dugans came up limping on that. Scott Mitchell has got so much pressure in his face, he's having to throw the quick hot read. And that's a design by the Eagles defense. They're going to send pressure, make him take, especially in the 3rd and 13. They're going to send a blitz, make him throw the hot receiver and make the tackle, give him the completion, but not the first down.
So the Eagles on the 1 Bengal turnover turned it quickly into a touchdown throw. And on 2 Eagle turnovers, the Bengals have gotten nothing. And now the punt caroms into the end zone for a touchback. And it'll come out to the 20. A good report on Vince Simonetti, the injured sideline man, doing well at the hospital.
Where you going? Where you going? Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, gotcha. Now, this is how the glove do it. Give me my ball back. Well, then take your ball in. Yeah, the glove. Did you see it? Me, mostly me. It's my domain. The glove. Hey, hold on, man. man. You ain't gonna be disrespecting me like that. When I ain't looking, huh? Oh, boy, that's something else.
Turning good friends into better ones. Turning new friends into old ones. Turning distant friends into closer ones. Turning Leaf.
You don't have to buy a ticket for the biggest movie events of the year because CBS is bringing them to a television near you. Only the #1 movie network will bring you superstars in once-in-a-lifetime roles. Blockbusters that are out of this world. Julie Andrews in a Live on Golden Pond movie. And Matthew Modine in Jim Henson's Jack and the Beanstalk. You bring the popcorn, we'll do the rest. It's all here every CBS Sunday. America's Night at the Movies.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Nike Shocks, Boeing thoroughly experienced and explained on Nike.com. And by Turning Leaf, it's turning into a very good time for wine. The new vintage of Turning Leaf is here.
Andy Reid looking at the play sheet, liking what he sees, as now his team goes first down and 10 after turning the ball over its last possession. Go right back on offense, stopping the Bengals. Cecil Martin comes out of the backfield with his 30th catch of the year. For the best NFL playoff coverage on the net, including game-by-game previews and analysis, click on NFL at CBSSportsline.com.
It's amazing the trends that take place in the National Football League, Don. Everybody's got a fullback that blocks for what they think is their premier back. And all these fullbacks, they never carry the ball, and yet they've got like 25 or 30 catches at the end of the year. Every team has a guy that fills that role, and Cecil Martin does it for the Eagles.
Good, reliable back. Good hands. It's like McNabb is changing the play on second down and a long 3. Throws it up the middle, and boy, this. Oh, wow. Chad Lewis making magic happen as he again goes high for a ball.
You want to talk about a sensational 8-yard catch, Don? That was it. Watch as he comes in from the left of your screen. He'll just stop, and McNabb, right, one hand pulls it in, 3 guys around him, and he knows he's got to tuck it away because then 6 guys are going to jump on him in a pile. Chad Lewis is going to the Pro Bowl because of the catches like that right there.
Lewis has now caught 6 today, 66 for the season. Guy who's been cut twice in his career. Once by the Eagles, once by the Rams. To the run. Going hard is Stanley Pritchett. And he is out to the 39-yard line. A gain of 5 yards on the play. Takeo Spikes is on the stop.
This is the thing about this Eagles offense, and the one that Takeo Spikes and the Bengals are trying to stop. They come out, they get a nice little 5-yard run, they get a 7-yard pass. They're giving up first down after first down, much like that first drive of 16 or 17 plays that the Eagles put together. That's their offense. And then every once in a while, Donovan McNabb does something special.
He can hit the deep ball. He's tried it a few times. Might be trying it right now. Fires on the run and sends the ball to his tight end again to the 49-yard line for yet another first down. A 10-yard gain on the play.
A group of mothers and children in the Philadelphia area also putting a nice little playoff berth under the tree here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they like that. And they're a team that could go deep in the playoffs. Here's McNabb. Finally, they sack him. They finally get a blitz that works as Armija Spearman, the rookie middle linebacker out of Mississippi, a free agent, comes in unblocked.
Santa Claus
down.
Santa Claus got sacked on this play. And this is the thing. Donovan McNabb does so many unbelievable things. Sometimes he thinks he can just do a little more than he's able to. Tries to make something happen, and in doing so, loses an extra 5 yards at the end of this play on the sack. But you know what? I think Andy Reid is willing to put up with that from a guy like Donovan McNabb. He's not going to lose too much sleep over one bad play like that when he knows that sooner or later he's going to bust loose.
They go back to the run now, and they bust them loose here as it goes straight ahead. A power run, and on the fly is Cecil Martin. On 2nd down and 22, he breaks it ahead for a first down, a gain of 23 yards on the play.
What did we just say about the role of a fullback? He'll never carry the ball. He might catch a pass or two. Well, they give it to him on a nice little nifty draw up the middle. 2nd and a mile, and he picks it up. Look at this guy banging through the secondary. Gets ahead of steam. And
the big plays. Needed 22, got 23. Now they go to the run, but this time Chris Warren is thrown back. There's a loss of about 3 yards on the play. As leading the tacklers for the Bengals is Javon Langford, number 94.
He played that beautifully. They came out and pulled out on a trap play, and he just stuffed the trap blockers and wouldn't let them kick him out. Chris Warren had nowhere to run with the football except right out into the arms of Javon Langford. Once he stuffed the play, he stepped out and got in on the tackle. He couldn't have played that much better.
So again, a long yardage play comes up for the Eagles. 2nd down, they need 13. Another blitz, drop ball as the tackler came in on Chad Lewis. Reinhard Wilson got a hit on just as the ball arrived, incomplete. Tonight on 60 Minutes, if you think you know the Dikembe Mutombo on the basketball court, wait until you meet him off the court with Ed Bradley. That's tonight on 60 Minutes.
You just saw a moment ago Chad Lewis pull one in, one-armed with 3 guys around him, and I think that's what happens when the weather goes bad. Guys will make plays you don't think they can make, and then they'll miss plays that they think they should. And there, Green Bay extends its lead over Tampa Bay, and you know the Eagles on the sideline are watching that on the scoreboard.
Andy Reid's old friend, Brett Favre, delivering the goods and keeping the Packers also in the playoff hunt. Remote as their chances may be, they need a lot of help to get in, but it starts by beating Tampa Bay again.
Big Red on the sidelines. He's one of those guys that, you know, you sit down with him and it's great. He says that he keeps this team so focused on the moment. Don't think about the big picture. We talked to all these guys yesterday. It didn't even seem like they were thinking about this game today. They were just thinking about yesterday and yesterday's practice. And then they'll worry about this game today. They are so much in the moment. I think that has been one of the great things Andy Reid has brought to them.
Greg East comes up and fair catches the punt. So the Bengals get it, but deep in their own end.
It's always special when you bring your first one home. Chrysler Voyager. Re-engineered and redesigned with dual sliding doors and over 45 standard safety and security features. It's the most affordable minivan you can buy. Now get $750 cash allowance on a Consumer's Digest Best Buy.
I can't do anything without the instructions. Nothing.
It's okay. She's got other presents.
They were just here. They were right here. I just had them.
We'll just hide this till her birthday.
She's been wanting this for a long time. If I only had those instructions.
You looked in the box?
I looked in there.
Did you take everything out of it?
Oh, here they are.
West Coast offense, here to show you something.
I want you to get to him.
Ted, red 98, red 98, hot, hot.
The NFL Today shows you everything you need to know about the playoffs on CBS.
Eagles continue to lead 13-0. Scott Mitchell has bad memories of the vet. Back in '95, he led a Detroit Lion playoff team in here. It was intercepted 4 times by the Eagles as the Lions were beaten that day 58-37. Akili Smith looks down from the sidelines. That was the highest scoring playoff game in history when the Eagles routed the Lions 58-37, 95 points. They try to go to the run. Corey Dillon runs the ball and takes it to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, you talk about this Bengals defense and Scott Mitchell being quarterback. You know, is this a team that is going to have Scott Mitchell be a starter for them? And let's face it, Akili Smith is not injured. He's not playing because he wasn't producing, and that's Dick LeBeau's philosophy the players have really rallied around. If you're not producing, you sit down. That includes Akili Smith. But is Scott Mitchell the future of this franchise? I don't think he is.
No, he's not. Here's a throw downfield. Mitchell does make a connection there out to the 26-yard line for a first down. The Eagles' last playoff win was in that aforementioned 95 game against the Lions. Rodney Peete looking for a little payback, and Barry Sanders looking to run it up. Peete was on target. Sanders, though, was held to 40 yards rushing. The Eagles scored early and often in that game, and scoring 58 points on their way to a 58-37 win. The highest scoring playoff game in NFL history. Mitchell on the run. He's not Donovan McNabb. When Mitchell is routed from the pocket, he's in deep trouble.
Yeah, he has no wheels at all. Now, he ran for a 12-yard touchdown a week ago, but it took a day and a half to get there. He's not going to make a living buying time with his legs. He's a drop-back classic quarterback. Does not make a living running. Not a Donovan McNabb. He's not an athlete. He's a quarterback. And that's going to have to be the modus operandi of this offense with him in there.
Second down and 10. His modus operandi is here. A good play fake and an open receiver. He gets the man downfield. Catching the ball is the tight end. And Steve Bush has the ball out across the 40-yard line for a 14-yard gain and a first down.
Now, the one thing that they can do is with Corey Dillon in the backfield, you've always got a good play action game because they've got to make sure he doesn't beat them. And as Scott Mitchell comes out, Steve Bush pops loose into the secondary, and it's the easy completion for Scott Mitchell.
That was a good fake by Mitchell, freed up the receiver, and now the run by Dillon, who continues to struggle. 14 carries for Dillon for just 35 yards. The guy that came in with 4 yards short of 1,400 for the season. He's already established an all-time Bengals single season rushing record.
And this is a guy that is a special back, and it's everything. It's really number one on the priority list for the Bengals is to re-sign him. Now they're probably going to slap him with a transition tag so they have the opportunity to match any offer he may receive when free agency opens up.
Baltimore rallying back to lead the Jets 20-17. Chicago now leads Detroit 13-10. So who knows what will happen until day's end. Friday on CBS, if you haven't seen television's highest rated new drama, this is your chance to see how it all began. Don't miss CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. That's Friday on CBS.
Now the Bengals finally here. This drive started inside their own 10-yard line. Now with a 3rd and short, they've got to have a sustained drive, a critical 3rd down for the Bengals.
They have Bobby Taylor on Warwick. He's done a great job against him. Here is Mitchell dumping the ball. He gets it ahead, and then the ball is stripped, incomplete, and 4th down arises. 4:34 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Too much time left, I guess, to make it a 4-down try.
Yeah, I think so. And you'll watch here as Mitchell he's got to shake the pressure off. He gets caught. He's going to go down. Just sees Brandon Bennett right there. Tries to hit it. Just has to put too much on it in the traffic. It's just an impossible play.
Brian Mitchell is back now, anticipating the punt of Daniel Pope. High punt. Mitchell coming up on it. No fair catch. Penalty marker is down as Mitchell finds a gap and a lane and gets out across the 20-yard line close to the 22. 45-yard punt and a 12-yard return.
It's going to be an illegal formation on the punt team of the Bengals. They didn't have enough guys on the line of scrimmage probably. And they're going to make them repunt the ball.
This is not a happy time for special teamers.
42 offense moving forward before the snap. 5-yard penalty. still fourth down.
There's nothing worse than covering 2 punts in a row, Don. I'm telling you.
You've been there 1,000 times.
I hated that because it's difficult enough to cover one. You have to run 60 yards after protecting on a vicious rush, then carry a guy on your back who's trying to block you down the field and then make a tough tackle and get caught in a pile. Then you got to get up, jog back to the line of scrimmage 5 yards deeper and kick it again and do it all over again. That's tough to do a second time in a row.
New England continues to lead Miami 24-17 in the third quarter at Foxborough. Coach LeBeau still exhorting his troops. Down 13-0. I mean, you got to get in the end zone to get started, but they're not out of this game. Here's Mitchell, fair catching the ball at the 13-yard line. So the Eagles have it again when we come back.
While most people struggle just to get through the winter, Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo owners seem to get over it pretty easily. This is the season to visit your local Jeep dealer.
6 weeks before one of the biggest games of my life, I felt a strange pain in my chest. What my doctor found was my toughest opponent yet. 3 of my arteries were more than 90% blocked. After recovering from surgery, lowering my high cholesterol became more important than football. Later, I was fortunate enough to coach my team in the biggest game of the season. That's the kind of play we need. Along with a healthy diet and regular exercise, taking Zocor every day helps significantly lower my total cholesterol.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems, because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor and about any medicines you are taking.
When diet and exercise are not enough, talk to your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today.
All right, Santa bring us a home game. Well, Santa McNabb is working and doing his best as he has his Eagles up 13-0 on the Bengals, and the Eagles with the ball again.
Santa's halfway down the chimney.
Ball's coughed up. Did it come out? Might be a live ball. It is, and the Bengals force yet another turnover by the Eagles. The third turnover by Philadelphia. But so far, Andy Reid's defense has kept him out of the end zone.
That's 2 crucial fumbles by the Eagles offense on running plays. You watch here as he comes up through, and what happens, Don, in the cold weather, players tend to wear sleeves, those long white sleeves, the cotton sleeves. The ball is really slippery against those, and you can't feel it. You can't feel the ball on your skin, and it squirts out like a wet bar of soap you saw right there. That's exactly what happens. That's what happens in the cold weather when clothing gets in the way of your skin.
And Corey Dillon, look at him rip into the defense and get ahead for a gain of close to 5 yards. As we now see the NFC scoreboard changing, and Jim Nantz updates us. Jim?
All right, Don, only one spot remains open, and good news for Rams fans. The Lions have given up 13 unanswered. Bears take the lead in the fourth quarter, just starting the fourth quarter. St. Louis leads on another Marshall Faulk touchdown. If the Lions lose and the Rams win, St. Louis is in. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Wow. What a day.
You know, Don, you think about it, as we talk about St. Louis may getting in or out, that's a team that may not make the playoffs and yet might win the Super Bowl. And that's how crazy it is on week 17 of the National Football League. One of the best teams all year is just trying to get into the playoffs. And if they do, nobody wants any part of that team.
Memo to Ken Anderson, who's calling the offensive plays for Cincinnati. Get the ball in Peter Warrick's hands, even if you hand off to him. Here's a drop by Warrick. They got it in his hands, and he dropped it. By a little slip screen.
That's exactly right, and he's starting to run with the football. You see, he's got black sleeves on as well, and Kenny Anderson trying to get the ball into the hands of the playmaker. One of the things that's a consideration now for the Bengals is Willie Anderson, their great right tackle, is out of the game with a bruised thigh. Probably won't come back. And now the pressure that Scott Mitchell has been feeling the whole game may get worse because the best offensive lineman they have is out.
31-yard field goal by rookie Neil Rackers. The Bengals season in microcosm. Rackers, they cut Pelfrey, and Rackers has been a disaster. He's hit 12 of 21 field goals.
Get the power of 3, the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
This is my killer DVD system.
This is my killer DVD rental section.
You have the hardware, Blockbuster has the software. We have more DVDs to rent than ever, and you like your DVD rental guaranteed. The best way to DVD is Blockbuster.
Rent Road Trip this week at Blockbuster. 4 friends embark on the greatest college tradition of all time.
Any guys out there who are just normal?
Road Trip, starring Tom Green, rated R. Rented on DVD or VHS this week at Blockbuster. Open Christmas Day.
Mr. Roberts called and wanted to take money out of his account.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I am ready to trade online.
Now, I said, you know, we can do that for you.
Wait a minute, Fidelity? Trading? You mean brokerage?
I told him, sure, just go to Power Street at Fidelity.com.
Fidelity.com, the site ranked highest in investor satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates.
Sounds like everything I've been looking for.
Oh, and one more thing. When you're ready to try wireless trading, you let us know.
To invest, call, click, or visit Fidelity.
When America celebrates its favorite artists at the Kennedy Center, the house will be rocking. Join Goldie Hawn, Glenn Close, and Little Richard for a night of spectacular performances as they pay tribute to Clint Eastwood, Angela Lansbury, rocker Chuck Berry, and more.
I love that rock and roll music.
The Kennedy Center Honors, CBS Wednesday.
$13-0. Producer Jim Rickoff informed us there's a streaker in the stands. Call me old-fashioned, but this is not the day for streaking. Here is a long ball by Donovan McNabb. He fires downfield and just off the fingertips of Charles Johnson, who was on the receiving end of that 39-yard touchdown play.
The one thing about this Philadelphia offense, Donovan McNabb, with the strength of his arm, they are going to test you deep once every quarter. You see here Charles Johnson right through his hands. He thinks he should have caught it. I think he should have caught it. I'm sure Donovan McNabb wishes he would have caught it. But that's a play that they need to make to go deep into the playoffs.
Well, one of the reasons I think, Steve, they can go deep into the playoffs is, number one, they've won on the road a lot, 6-2. And number two, they got a defense. Nothing travels like a defense. Here's McNabb. Swing pass. And crashing ahead is Cecil Martin, and he is out to the 32-yard line. There he is.
That's not really a true streaker. He's got a hat on.
The masked man now being wrestled to the ground by security forces who are roundly booed.
They're taking him out and they're getting booed.
Probably doing a favor.
Yeah, the guy's probably saying, don't let go of me. Take me down right now.
Got about a 10-degree chill factor. Got this Fulbright scholar running around in his underwear.
It's Christmas time, man. At least he's got his Santa hat on.
Another Nobel laureate running the stands. Here's McNabb on third down. Needs 5. Oh, it's slapped back and caught. McNabb gets the bat back. So in effect, he throws the ball and is a recipient of a tip ball.
He gets I don't know if he gets a completed pass to himself plus the yardage.
3 yards, but not enough.
You watch here. This is a guy. Are you telling me his lights are on? I'm telling you, Don. He's sharp. He throws this ball. He doesn't forget about it. Throws it. Bang. Backs it. Oh, it's coming right here. He catches it. I mean, you think he expected that? Whether he did or not, he was ready for it. I mean, that's guy. I mean, from the first moment he opened his mouth as a first-round draft choice for Philadelphia in New York, you knew he was something special.
Well, he's been that. Eagles continue to hold a 13-0 lead, but taking nothing for granted on this day where some major upsets could be in the offing. Certainly not one here yet. Here is Warwick. And Peter Warwick, the man who broke one for 82 yards and a touchdown last week against Jacksonville, ran that one back 13 yards. Saturday, CBS Sports showcases the power elite of women's hoops with a triple header. First, Illinois takes on Auburn, followed by Purdue and Michigan. And in the finale, the two preeminent teams of the era take over when the Lady Vols of Tennessee go against the UConn Huskies in a rematch of the 2000 National Championship game. NCAA women's basketball at its best Saturday on CBS. Mitchell takes a look, throws on the run. He's got Craig Yeast, and he's ahead for a first down. Gets the ball to the 49-yard line of the Eagles, a 13-yard gain.
One of the things about this Eagle defense, they got some guys who can rush the passer. Hugh Douglas was all in Scott Mitchell's face. He's got 15 sacks on the year. This guy is bad to the bone. I mean, he has emerged here in Philadelphia as a go-to guy on this defense, and he has been the difference maker.
Mitchell swings it out nicely. This is Corey Dillon. They've really defended Dillon. I mean, they've got people ready to hit him wherever he ends up with the ball, be it the run or the swing pass like that. That was Troy Vincent, starting Pro Bowl cornerback, making the stop.
Now this defense of the Eagles has got some guys on it that are really special. Troy Vincent's one of them, a Pro Bowl corner. And I'm telling you what, if you can go to the Pro Bowl at cornerback, you are something special, because that's a premier position in this league.
And that'll do it for 3/4 of play at the Vet. With the Eagles in the lead 13-0. We'll return to Philadelphia after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
It's playoff time! So come on now, show me something!
Oh, I'm going to show you something.
The playoffs on CBS.
Happy holidays from all of us at CBS.
Do you have anything bigger?
The Unwrap a Jaguar holiday event. Find special lease and finance terms on the 2001 Jaguar S-Type from now until December 31st. It's the perfect gift.
It's too hot to move. Whoa, look at her. Hello, kitty. I think I'm in love. I'm going in. I've been waiting for you all my life. Will you marry me?
You're really sweeping me off my feet. Welcome to paradise, boys.
Coors Light, frost brewed at the edge of freezing.
Men or sheep.
You don't have to join a union contract.
But you might want to.
Listen.
Just listen. Hear me out.
Union contractor is off for me.
And me. And me.
Work every day. Work on some big jobs.
Real big. Benefits. Training.
And the highest pay. We got them.
We need workers. Are you a worker?
To learn more about starting a career with the Laborers Union, call 610-524-0404.
You deserve a better life for your family.
And yourself.
Merry Christmas from KYW3.
Back to the Vet. Eagles in the lead. Bengals still in the game, though. Down 13-0 as we start the fourth quarter. Second and 9. Mitchell timing throw. It's caught for a first down. Danny Farmer makes his first catch, a big one. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. They no longer boo Santa Claus in Philadelphia as they once did. They cheer the Eagles nonstop. And Steve, we'd like to cheer all these CBS technicians who work with us all season long for the great job they do, and certainly to everyone involved. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, they've really helped us a lot. They've helped me a lot, I know, and believe me, I've needed it. But it's been a lot of fun covering these games for CBS, especially the year we've got the Super Bowl this year down in Tampa Bay. It's going to be a fun playoff picture as we go to Tampa.
And all of a sudden, they get to the tight end, Marco, to Steve Bush for a gain of 18 yards. And the Bengals are challenging, as we've said time and again. They will not go away. They'll give it everything they got every down till the game is over. And they're still in it. Mitchell looks. Open guy. Warwick was there and he overshoots him. Warwick did look to have a step on the defense. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Well, this is what's happened with the Bengals on a number of occasions. They've just hung around long enough to give themselves a chance to win in the 4th quarter. Warwick comes off the ball right here. As the play fake, you see the defensive backs all step forward, and Warwick just streaks through, and Scott Mitchell can't put the ball inside the field of play, and Warwick is out of bounds.
They're singling Warwick right now. I go right back to him. He's to the near side. All out blitz. Ball on the field. Eagles have it. Defense wins. Hollis Thomas, a guy who sent a videotape he made up to 30 NFL teams looking for a shot. And now he's a starting defensive tackle.
Hey guys, give me a hand carrying this stuff up to the 3rd floor?
Love to, but we're late for this thing.
Yeah, sorry. That's cool.
You know, those stairs are kind of tricky.
Yeah. Oh, I got this. That's it. Mind if we help ourselves to some of your underwear?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
I don't need you guys to help me unpack.
Make it a Bud Light.
Give me my phone. I want to check my email.
No.
Give it to me.
No.
Give me my phone.
No.
No.
New MSN Explorer. Everything you need to feel at home on the web all in one place. Now MSN is faster than ever. Get new MSN high speed at Radio Shack today.
If you think you know Dikembe Mutombo on the basketball court, wait until you meet him off the court with Ed Bradley tonight on 60 Minutes.
Back to the net. There is Hollis Thomas, a terrific part of this Eagles team. He's the point guard at 310 pounds, 6 feet 310 on the Eagles offseason basketball team. Aaron throw that time as McNabb's a little bit to the wrong side of his receiver, Torrance Small, as we look at the scoreboard changing. Baltimore rallying from 14-0 behind to lead the Jets. Just went for it on 4th and 1 and didn't get there. New England continues to lead Miami. Detroit has taken back the lead from Chicago. And Green Bay, beneficiary, the Eagles find in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as the Packers continue to lead Tampa Bay. Now it's 14-3. Straight ahead give, and the guy who fumbled a bit earlier, Chris Warren, with both arms on the ball. The NFC playoff picture, you see the teams that are in: the Giants, the Vikings, the Saints, the Eagles, and Tampa Bay. Right now, St. Louis with an outside chance, but certainly building on its chance, holding a 19-7 lead over the Saints at New Orleans.
That's right. They've got to know that Detroit came back, grabbed the lead back from Chicago. If Detroit wins, St. Louis, the defending world champions, will not even make the playoffs. What looked like a dynasty doesn't seem that way anymore.
Hand off. Ryan Mitchell, like he shot out of a gun. Takes it straight ahead for a first down as we go to New York and to Jim Nantz.
Well, here's how the Ravens took a 10-point.
Scoring defense in NFL history. Right now, the Eagles showing offense as they come out attacking, even though they hold a 13-0 lead. As we look at the AFC playoff picture, Tennessee in very good position to have home field advantage if they beat Dallas tomorrow night in Nashville. The thing looks like the number 2 seed.
Man, look, the thing about it is if Miami loses and the Jets lose, then they may not have that ironed out until Indianapolis plays against Minnesota.
You know who's going to get in is the Colts.
That's amazing.
Miami's losing, the Jets are losing, and the Colts are going to play Minnesota, and if they win,
they're in.
Hand off. Chris Warren runs the ball and is knocked down hard, is coming up to make the tackle on the play. Takeo Spikes again was on the play along with Glenn Steele. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, join Jim, Mike, and Randy for all the scores and highlights, plus the latest playoff news, and there's a lot of that. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Takeo Spikes, a heat-seeking missile at linebacker, looking to attack. Third down. Throw. Catch. Johnson breaks it for a first down. And the Eagles drive on with 11-11 left to play in the regular season. A 14-yard gain and a first down. They got in on McNabb quickly. Here's Steve.
They were right in on top of him. He still managed to get loose. Watch this right there. Got a fistful of jersey.
Oliver Gibson.
Right on the snap. Timed it beautifully. And still Donovan McNabb was able to deliver that ball on target for the big gain. But, man, you got to wonder about what happened on that play as they leapt through the gap on the defensive line, and there's his yards for the day.
Hand off. Now with some trap blocking, the Eagle offensive line cuts open the defense, gashes the Bengals with a straight-ahead 7-yard run by Darnell Autry. Darrell Williams, one of the safeties, finally got him down.
Now you can see right now the defense of the Bengals, who was so stiff against the run early in the game. Now the Eagles are starting to gash them with some good gains. And it all starts with Donovan McNabb and his ability to loosen them up, hit for short passes, and then the offensive line just takes over up front.
Incomplete pass will bring up third down and almost 4. With 10:03 left to play in the game. Right now, the season working out just like the Eagles like it. As Tampa Bay is losing, the Eagles are winning. And that all figures into the Eagles being on the home field, maybe on a short turnaround. They could have to go next Saturday here at the Vet in a wild card game.
That's a consideration, but they'll still take the short turnaround as opposed to a road game, which may mean they go to Tampa Bay if that happens.
Very good chance Tampa Bay will be coming here next Saturday. The way it's unfolding now is the Eagles go back to the run, and Stanley Pritchett turns the corner as the Eagle offensive line starts to dominate, pushing back the Bengals. A 9-yard gain.
As you continue to talk about the playoff picture, Tampa Bay, it's well publicized that they struggle playing in under 40-degree temperatures. You just see here as Stanley Pritchett takes this and then turns up and gets his weight moving up the field, stays in bounds as long as he can. But this is a team in the Eagles, and you think about the difference that it could mean. This is an Eagles team that could play at home against a Tampa Bay team that can't win in cold climates plus a road game. And it's almost as though they will get a bye if you look at it in that light, although Tampa Bay is not going to lay down for this team.
No, but
those
this
are the
kind of weather.
Yeah, those are the kind of advantages you need.
Next Sunday, CBS Sports kicks off its coverage of the 2000 playoffs with the AFC wild card. It all starts with Jim, Randy, Craig, Jerry, Mike, and Marcus on a special playoff edition of the NFL Today. The AFC playoffs on CBS Sports. Show me something. They'll show you a lot. I'll tell you, that playoff game yesterday, it was a playoff quality. The Giants in Jacksonville on CBS. What a game, huh?
Sensational game.
Every down was a war. Throw. There's got to be a foul there. He had him by the shirt.
Mark Roman was pulling on him like
Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson was dragging Mark Roman like he was a plow.
Finally, a flag does come in.
Illegal contact. 42 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I always thought that was an unfair penalty. You know, you give the guy, you keep the guy from catching a 25-yard pass, and they give you a 5-yard penalty. But right here, you'll see the quick slant fake, and he gets by him. That's illegal contact there. Now watch as he gets by. Then he pulls him. That's a...
Chris Carter called for the foul that gives the Eagles renewed 4 downs on this drive. And here's a throw by McNabb right on the money. Beautifully done. He guns the ball into Charles Johnson. These two guys, they worked. Yeah. I mean, they just worked as hard as two players can work in the offseason in Arizona in the heat. And it's really showed up in the regular season.
Look at that. And that's one of the things about this offense that makes it tough. 7 players with a reception, 7 players with a rush. You flip that over and look at what Cincinnati does. They hand the ball to Corey Dillon and they try and throw it to Peter Warrick. That's not very many choices when you compare it to an offense like the Eagles.
The thing that really amazes about McNabb, though, this is just his 2nd year in the league. Driving hard near the goal line is Chris Warren as he gets inside the 5 on a 6-yard power run. And the Eagles looking to put on the knockout punch any moment now as the clock winds down to 7:45 to play in the game.
Now Chris Warren is in the game, and as we said earlier, he's kind of a late season pickup to help them get to the playoffs. And you know, he hasn't had much time to digest this offense. They had a bye week last week. He spent a lot of extra time, and he only is in on a certain personnel combination. But if he continues to run like that, and as he gets more comfortable with the offense, he could be a factor.
Here's a guy that's a factor. Chris Warren, ball on the field again, though. Still up for grabs, and look at this. The Bengals have it. This is Artrell Hawkins as Warren coughs it up for a 2nd time today. So the new Eagle flying low, a crash landing. Coach Reed wondering about how many times he can give him the ball again.
Seattle is surrounded by water, and then it rains. And that means car accidents. When that happens, are you going to have a State Farm agent who knows you personally, or are you going to have no agent and hope for the best?
Over 16,000 State Farm agents.
Our rates are very competitive.
It's no accident. They insure more cars than anyone else.
I'm going to be getting some calls today.
Wiring the school for the internet is a big job.
You might get some floor damage with the backhoe.
The dumpsters are green. They're nice, like nature.
Hello?
There's a hard way to bring the internet to your school and an easy way. The wireless way with the Dell True Mobile Wireless Computer Lab. It stores up to 35 notebook computers that are wireless internet ready, turning every classroom into an interactive technology center.
Can you pay cash?
Wireless internet, made easy with Dell.
Dell Latitude notebooks use Intel Pentium 3 processors.
Losing your hair? It's a thing in my family. Suddenly I'm 30. I'm seeing hair here, hair there. I'm bumming. What did I expect? Thanks, Dad. So a year ago, I broke with tradition. Started using Rogaine.
Rogaine. It's the only one clinically proven to work directly on the scalp to help stop hair loss.
Look, nothing here, nothing here. It's all here. Rogaine broke the family curse.
Rogaine. Stronger than heredity.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dell. Rogaine Extra Strength for Men. And by NASDAQ.com, who can tell you more about stocks than the stock market.
4 turnovers today by the Eagles. That's not good. And 2 by Warren, the new Eagle. But the Bengals have been unable to do anything with the turnovers. After one, they were 3 and out. Second, they were 3 and out. On the third one, they missed a field goal. No points after all those turnovers. Now a long ball downfield. Not close to the tight end, Marco Battaglia. Take a look at this fumble, Steve.
Yeah, and a fumble always hurts you, but it is incredibly bad when you do it down in your opponent's end when you're going in for a touchdown. Right there, you see the ball pops loose as Canute Curtis gets rid of it, and then Artrell Hawkins scoops it up. You'll see Donovan McNabb try and tackle, and then his own player trips him up. Chris Carter, trying to help out, trips him up from behind and keeps him from going the distance.
Hit ball. Still up for grabs, and the Eagles get it back. Whatever's fair. Well, Carlos Emmons, who's played a terrific game, keeps his eye on the batted ball and comes away with it.
For just a minute, we were in a volleyball game, and Carlos Emmons got the spike for the kill.
Well, he's played a good game, Emmons. Real good. 7 turnovers overall.
They opened the doors of the internet to a new kind of store, changing the way we shop and buy. Starting as the world's largest internet bookstore, Amazon.com's focus on service was key to becoming the world's largest internet everything store. Now serving 25 million customer accounts in over 200 countries. Satisfaction a must. Where do you find the companies that are shaping the future? Exactly. NASDAQ, stock market for the digital world.
Inevitably, there will come a time in your life when you realize you need a cell phone. And when that time comes, we'll be here.
A chunky Super Bowl moment. Kurt Warner's mom filled him up right with Campbell's Chunky New England Clam Chowder. Now heartier than ever with bigger chunks of clams. Never did a clam do so much for a ram.
After over 10 years, we still have a no-hassle, no-haggle pricing policy at Saturn. We don't yell offers from the highest tree. We don't play games. And we don't have promotions every other week. But that doesn't mean we don't compete.
Lease a 2001 Saturn SL1 for $199 a month for 39 months with 0 due at lease signing. Call for lease details.
Samantha, here we go. Meet Ernie Els. He's a regular guy just like you. Some days aren't as easy as others. Sometimes he too has to improvise. He's just like you. Except for the fact he won 2 majors by age 27 and can crush 320-yard drives. Other than that, he's just like you.
The pressure that Philadelphia was able to put on Scott Mitchell early may have aided in the decision-making here. He throws it into a huge crowd. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Eagles and 2 Bengals in the same spot. It turns into a volleyball game, and Carlos Emmons comes up with the rebound.
Cecil Martin inside the 30-yard line. Gain of only about a yard. Last time the Eagles have shut out an opponent was back in '96, believe it or not, their last playoff season when they blanked the Giants 24-0.
It says a lot about where this franchise has come. You know, this is an Eagle franchise. We spoke about it very early in the game that this franchise was in disarray 3 years ago. I mean, it was bad news.
2 years ago, it was 3-13. Here's a pitch ahead. On a 2nd down and 8 play, there's a gain about 5 yards on the play, down to the 25. Eagles looking to run clock now as Chad Lewis got the ball. That was a completed pass.
And you see a lot of teams, you've seen it where they turn the thing around and they have a better record one year, a much better record than they did the year before. But I don't think it speaks enough about what's happened here in Philadelphia just to say it's the record. It's everything from top to bottom, from the ownership all the way down to the players. Everything has turned around here in Philadelphia.
They've done a great job, and the good times are just beginning to roll. This team's going to be good for a long time because the best parts of it are young. Like McNabb, who completes that pass to Chris Warren. Tonight on 60 Minutes, if you think you know the Dikembe Mutombo on the basketball court, wait until you meet him off the court with Ed Bradley. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. Then spend Christmas Eve with Touched by an Angel, followed by Angela Lansbury, stars in the CBS Sunday movie, Mrs. Santa Claus. It's all here. Don't miss it. Tonight on CBS. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker and Beasley Reese at the Vet in Philadelphia. 41-yard field goal to be attempted now by the sure-footed David Akers. Bangs it with the left foot. Puts it up, and no sooner said he misses one, but he hasn't missed many this year. He's hit 28, and he's tried 32.
This is my killer DVD system.
This is my killer DVD rental section.
You have the hardware, Blockbuster has the software. We have more DVDs to rent than ever, and you like your DVD rental guaranteed. The best way to DVD is Blockbuster.
Rent Road Trip this week at Blockbuster. 4 friends embark on the greatest college tradition of all time.
Any guys out there who are just normal?
Road Trip, starring Tom Green, rated R. Rented on DVD or VHS this week at Blockbuster. Open Christmas Day.
After over 10 years, we still have a no-hassle, no-haggle pricing policy at Saturn. We don't yell offers from the highest tree. We don't play games. And we don't have promotions every other week. But that doesn't mean we don't compete.
Lease a 2001 Saturn SL1 for $199 a month for 39 months with 0 due at lease signing. Call for lease details.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Blockbuster, bringing entertainment home. And by Saturn, now with 2 distinctively different car lines, the L Series and S Series.
The crystal ball, who knows what's inside that?
It's tough to figure out the NFL playoff picture, I'll tell you that, especially this year.
It's been great, right down to the wire. Here is Mitchell dumping it off. Looking for some room to run, and there's not much there. And the tackle made by Jeremiah Trotter. Guys start up after the play.
Yeah, there's a scuffle going on. It's getting late in the season. Cincinnati's going home for Christmas.
Warwick, they're looking to get on the ball as much as they can. They had him deep once. He was open in the end zone with the overthrow. He got a double team most of the time. Near side throw. Ball is caught. Landon Bennett runs near side and gets across the 45, across the 50. He's ahead for a big gain, an 18-yard gain and a Bengal first down.
And unfortunately, the Bengals have been in this position all too many times this year, down by 13 with less than 5 minutes to go. Always seemingly to have a big lead to overcome, and yet this is a team that you got to tip your hat to them. They have never, ever stopped playing.
Just on offense, they've not been able to play very well. And here's a throw to Warwick. He catches the ball. Very close to being over the line of scrimmage, but the linesman right there says it was a good throw. Scott Mitchell, good for a 13-yard gain.
Now they're in their 2-minute hurry-up, no-huddle offense. Sometimes it's always crazy to me. You see these teams go to this, and it seems like they move the ball like nobody's business.
There's an all-out blitz. Long ball. And again, an overshoot as Warwick was running the deep pattern. And now Mitchell's down, hit hard. Don McNabb was the number 2 player picked in the '99 draft. There's Akili Smith, who was the number 3 player picked. He really gets a shot put on.
Watch Brian Mitchell. He goes back, looks to his right, then comes back for the throw on the left. Bang!
Mike Caldwell.
And I'm telling you what, you know, everybody, it used to drive me crazy. People would find out you're a football player and say, doesn't it hurt when you get tackled? Yeah, that hurts. That really hurts. Is Akili Smith going to have to step in and play? I mean, that's, you know, and you talk to Dick LeBeau and you ask him how has he handled being benched. which he's been benched. I mean, listen, you can't sugarcoat it. I mean, this is a kid who's healthy, was a third player picked in the draft, who's not playing. And now he's going to have to go in. They said he's handled it as well as they could have expected. You just see here, watch Mitchell as he goes back just as he releases it. Mike Caldwell. And that is a big time hit.
This turf here, I mean, these are mean streets. The playing field here at the Vet.
It's concrete. It's virtually concrete. I was down a bit before the game, and there is no give on that turf. It is like playing on a parking lot.
Here is Kelly Smith out of the University of Oregon. Comes in with actually a higher quarterback rating than Scott Mitchell had. His quarterback rating, though, is just 53. He's completed only 44% of his passes, 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Let's face it, this is a guy you've seen a lot of young quarterbacks, Donovan McNabb in particular, do so well. Akili Smith is one of those quarterbacks who has struggled in a big way. But he's kept his wits about him. I mean, this is a guy who's handled it as well as you could expect. He's gone through some injury problems in both years, last year and this year.
Well, one thing we know he can do, Steve, is run, something Mitchell can't do. Handoff. They go up the middle. Brandon Bennett bounces to the outside. Turns it up. He's not done. And Brandon Bennett's all the way inside the 20-yard line. Down to the 16, an 18-yard gain on the play. The Bengals aren't done yet. This isn't over.
And now when you're a Philadelphia Eagles standing around, you think, well, gosh, what if they score this? Then they're less than a touchdown down. And now Scott Mitchell right back into the game.
Takes a look, goes to the end zone.
Got it.
Peter Warwick is in the end zone. It is indeed a touchdown. Al Harris had a play on the ball also, but it's a 17-yard touchdown. And all of a sudden, the Bengals are down 13-6 with the extra point coming up.
Peter Ward just stole this ball away from Al Harris. He played it beautifully. Both players were in position, but Peter Warwick just shows the eye-hand coordination. Watch, this ball goes up for grabs. Both guys get a hand on it. It goes right into Warwick's chest, and he clamps it.
Scott Mitchell said this, Steve, about Peter Warwick. There's not many players you can say that are a threat to score a touchdown every time they touch the ball. Peter Warwick is one. Every time he touches the ball.
And he's proven it throughout the year. And you see there, those are his numbers, 3 receptions today for 38 yards. But I think his effect is greater than that.
Peter Warwick feeling it. And you can feel it in the air. It's that time of year again when the NFL's best go head-to-head. One loss and you're done. Keep an eye on CBS in the wild card weekend through to the Super Bowl. It all begins next weekend. Oh, we have a chance. We see these slam bang hits that only pick up in intensity beginning next Sunday and continuing right on through Super Bowl 35 in Tampa.
I think it was an analogy we used earlier in the game where, you know, these players, they come into the preseason as rookies and, you know, they kind of do well. Some of them make a little progress. They do some good things in the preseason. And as the regular season takes hold, they begin to struggle because now the stakes are raised and absolutely everything picks up speed. Well, as big as that step is from the preseason to the regular season, so too is the step from the regular season to the playoffs. You're playing the best of the best, and they're playing well, and they're playing hard, and they're playing like it means something. Yeah, they're going to kick this onside. It's the only thing they can do. They've got to get the football back. It's not going to make it. That was a bad kick. That was a bad kick.
Their kicking game has been brutal.
The ball has to go 10 yards. First of all, the ball has to go 10 yards before anybody on the Bengals can even touch it. Plus, there can be no contact by the Bengals until the ball goes 10 yards. So they can't even knock the Eagles away. Now, the Eagles stepped up and made some contact, but that's legal. The Bengals can't make any contact with the Eagles until the ball goes 10 yards. So the kick that doesn't go 10 yards is absolutely useless.
You saw the ultimate bad onside kick yesterday. 49ers 7
Yeah,
non-executed by Jacksonville, kicking it on a one-hop right to Jason Sehorn, who quickly scored a touchdown that ended up winning the game.
Exactly right. And you think about the playoff team of this Eagles is, it started on the first week of the season. They came out of last year on a high note, and they wanted to keep it going. The turning point of the season, how about the opening kickoff of the year? A surprise onside. They get it. It takes them to the point where they absolutely killed Dallas on week 1. And then in week 11, a crucial play right here. They're down by 10 to the Steelers. They try an onside. They get it back, go on to win that game. And those 2 onside kicks really gave this team the momentum and then the decisive edge in crucial games.
Well, the Eagles rolled from that opening onside kick at Dallas, and the Cowboys never come back from it all season. Here's a throw and a catch, beautifully connected. McNabb to Chad Lewis for 14 yards and a first down.
Lewis looks like he got the wind knocked out of him.
So did McNabb. Now McNabb's all right. Now it's Autry getting up.
And Cincinnati's taking a timeout here. Watch this throw by McNabb as he flips this ball out there. Chad Lewis pulls it in. You can see there, easy to see why he might be slow getting up there as the brunt of the force goes right on his lower back. Now Autry and Chad Lewis are both going to come off the field. But this is a team in the Eagles that right now they've got to be feeling so good. And the thing that they tell you about themselves is that they're a close-knit bunch. They like each other. They like being on the team. Andy Reid's a guy that's a good coach to play for. They've really come together, and that's been the big difference.
It's one of your Northwestern guys, Steve Darnell Autry. You really, what the Eagles have overcome, losing Deuce Staley, who last year had 366 touches of the ball, just dominating the offense, and he's been out all year with an injury, and they've had to make do. But the emergence of McNabb as a superstar quarterback has really been a big difference as the ball's positioned at the 19-yard line now. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, join Jim, Mike, and Randy for all the scores and highlights, plus the latest playoff news. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show.
We asked Andy Reid about, the development of McNabb, and he said, early on in the season, Deuce Staley had the big game in Dallas, and we kind of flopped around a little bit offensively, especially when Deuce Staley got hurt. And then about after the first month of the season, Donovan McNabb began to emerge, and he's been the difference thus far.
Maybe the difference on first down. He hands off on the run, and the Bengals, battling like tigers, slam down Stanley Pritchett for virtually no gain.
When you think as big a part of the offense as
Angston,
as McNabb has become for this Eagles defense, Deuce Staley was just as big a part before he got hurt.
Now the Bengals take a timeout. They'll get another one at the 2-minute warning. Still down 13-0, unable to capitalize on all those turnovers by the Eagles.
And you talk about this Eagle team, and every time you think about a team, especially in today's football with the salary cap, you think, how are they positioned? Is it going to last? And the Eagle team looks to be poised on the front end of a great run into the playoffs for a lot of years.
Tampa Bay has tied Green Bay 14-14. Look at this.
Wow.
Miami has tied New England. What a 17th Sunday. Looks like we're going to see some extra play today.
Wow.
Overtime, just like we like it. McNabb swings it out, beautifully caught one-handed. That is Stanley Pritchett, who takes it down to the 10-yard line for a 10-yard gain. So the Eagles drive closer to another score.
If the way it's made doesn't convince you, or the durability, or the safety, or the comfort, or the performance, or the way you're treated, if all that doesn't make you want to buy a Saturn, no offer will. Of course, we could be wrong.
Get APR financing as low as 1.9% on all 2001 models.
Look at that. Staples has overnight delivery.
Slow down, let me see.
Wow, it's free. Hey, look.
Guaranteed low prices. Slow down. Staples delivers.
And you can order online. This traffic's terrible.
Yep. Like this every single day.
That's really weird.
Need office products delivered overnight? Yeah, we've got that. Call 1-800-STAPLES.
Cannonballs, $129 online. 88 hula hoops, $60 online. Elephant shampoo, $42 online. Not having to pay for any weird charges that show up on your bill? Priceless. With MasterCard, you're not responsible for unauthorized purchases on the web or anywhere. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
CBS Friday. Every time Dr. Richard Kimball saves a life, he risks his own.
Don't you hurt her!
Now's the perfect time to experience
I said hands up.
The Fugitive. And if you haven't seen the Golden Globe nominee for Best Drama, this is your chance to see how it all began.
I promise you, there is always a crew.
CSI, The Fugitive, Friday.
Andy Reid likes what he's seeing from his Eagles. He can't be too happy if he looked up and saw that Chicago has now tied Detroit. Now, that's not as big an impact as the fact that Tampa Bay has tied Green Bay. So some of these critical games are now tied in the fourth quarter, including very important for the Eagles, Tampa Bay at Green Bay game. 14-all at this point. Third down and 2. McNabb and the Eagles from the eye set, double tights. And the run, and it is quickly shut down. Tom Barnt, 93, makes the hit on Stanley Pritchett.
Cincinnati takes another timeout to stop the clock and give themselves a chance. And you think, Don, I don't know, I'm going to make a statement to you. I think this may be the most interesting year of the playoffs and indeed the whole year of any year in history for the National Football League. There are 3 or 4 games that are tied at this point going into the fourth quarter of the last weekend of the season, and they all have playoff implications. And right here, even in Philadelphia, if David Akers can put this through, this is the nail in the coffin for the Bengals season. It's all over if he can pull this off.
If in fact it wasn't all long gone a while ago, and the field goal is knocked up and through. That is indeed the knockout punch. And the Eagles, who were 5-11 a year ago, will finish 11-5. One of the best turnabouts in the recent NFL's history.
I was going to ask you, you've done this for a long time. Can you remember a year when there were so many games that were so crucial to the playoff picture going down to the wire on the final weekend?
No, I cannot. It's been great. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. Today's game was produced by Jim Rickoff and directed by Kathy Barretto. The associate director of today's game was John Coleman. Broadcast associate was Jonathan Thiegel. We thank them all. Technical manager was Dan Barron. Our statisticians, Bill George and Gary Brown. And certainly thanks to all our CBS technicians for their great work in good weather and bad.